What up? Y'all better be staying tuned to quit, bro. Whatever it is you doing. And on this one, we could be checking out what's going on, man. Let's see what's the latest and the greatest, huh? Let's see. Ooh, they're changing Sony prices. That's crazy, bro. Everything's supposed to be going down over the years with this bad boy.
Sony is raising the
Bam.
price of every PS5, but you still have 24 hours to get one at the normal price. I got a question for you. Would you prefer a PS5 Pro or a PS5 Series S? Then I want to talk about how Sony spent 2025 quietly fixing the PlayStation Store and nobody noticed. And finally, while Call of Duty is careening towards the end of single player, Battlefield 6 is looking to take over the throne. Sony is raising the price of every PS5, but
All right, if y'all are wondering why he's talking so fast, it's because I got it at 1.50. Maybe I'll put it at 1.25 just for you folks that's new to this.
you still have
Let's
24
get it.
hours to get one at the normal price. How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is PS Ready, my channel all about PlayStation. We're rolling right into the first news story here because we kind of have a PlayStation 5 emergency going on. So like I mentioned in the intro, Sony is raising the price of every
Whoa, 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 whoa.
PS5 on the market by $50. So the digital model is going to be $500, which is crazy considering that when this thing launched, it was $399, and 5 years later, it's $100 more. The disk drive enabled model is going to be $550. The PS5 Pro is going to be $750. But for the rest of today, you're going to be able to get the normal price. And I went and checked PS Direct. There's a bundle with Black Ops 6 and the digital model for $399. If you're trying to get one as dirt cheap as possible, I think that's your best option unless you go refurbished. But I'd imagine that the refurbished prices are also going to rise as well because those are totally tied to the MSRP cost of a brand new console. This is absolutely insane. Like I try to look at things from both perspectives. Like, you know, component prices haven't really come down since 2020 X, Y, and Z. They need to make money on the console from their perspective, so they have to raise the price. At this point, I don't really care. I grew up with generations of PlayStations 1, 2, 3, and 4, where the console launched at a pretty decently high price. But then around the halfway point of the generation, you not only got a slim model, but you also got up to a 50% price decrease. And sometimes you'd even get multiple games packed in with that console, or at the very least, a PlayStation Plus subscription or an extra controller. And now in 2025, not only have they not really dropped the price of these consoles, they've raised them multiple times on the digital model. They're increasing the price to above the MSRP around halfway through the generation, if not the very end of it. And if there was this huge plethora of games that ran amazing, looked amazing, pushed gaming forward, it would be kind of more understandable, I think. But if you look at the game situation on the PS5, yes, Sony has stuff coming down the line, but up until now, they have not done a great job actually taking advantage of the PS5.
Yeah, Sony has been low-key basura, bruh. After hearing this $50 increase, bruh, I'm thinking about going PC, man. We're gonna go
So you've got this exorbitantly
we're gonna go Master Race, dog.
expensive console,
I don't
and then you
know.
don't really have any games that
It's
actually
really
take
pissing
advantage
me
of its
off.
power. And this is all compounded on top of itself even more when you take into account the PS5 Pro pricing of $750. Like, look, I think the PS5 Pro is a great console because it can brute force its way past a lot of the technical issues that a lot of games have been having lately. But for $750, you are on the line of where people are going to start considering building a PC because yes, it is more expensive up front, but when you start buying games on Steam, people are going to realize very quickly that games on Steam are a lot cheaper. There are many sources
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I've been looking on Steam. Steam always has deals.
to get
Like better deals than PS5.
Steam games for much
Or should
cheaper
I say
than MSRP.
PlayStation?
There's multiple sales throughout the year. Like if you want to be a gamer who still spends 50 or 60 bucks on new titles, you can get new games on Green Man Gaming for like 55 bucks all day long, any game you want. I understand that hardware is expensive, but in the past they got around this by selling it at a minor loss and then making it up later. And Jim Ryan was the one who decided that that wasn't going to happen this generation. But
Bruh, tell me about it. Like, man, and like you said, if I gotta wait for a PS6, just think about that, man. It was a mission trying to get a PS5, but getting a PS6, man. I wonder how much that's gonna cost, bro.
last time I
Like,
checked,
bro, that's see, you're gonna have to pay for that, and you're gonna have to pay for the subscription. But yeah, but at what cost though? Because they say that PlayStation don't even let you buy their digital stuff from any stores. You gotta go to their PlayStation store to actually buy stuff. So at that point, I think they could actually price it at whatever they want at their store. You know, if anything, they probably price it like $5 less or $10 less if that's what they're trying to do. I don't know, man. To be honest, I'm thinking about jumping ship, bro. Like,
Jim Ryan isn't CEO of PlayStation anymore. They've got to start undoing this mantra of trying to make money on everything and nickel and dime people, because if you want to charge 70 bucks for games, yeah, you got to make sure that the console
yeah, bro. Like before,
is cheap enough for people to even get in the market.
yeah, like that. I think there's a reason why they call it the master race, Stucco. Is because you gotta pay extra. Now they're putting us basically neck and neck to the master race now, huh?
in the first place. And this all coincides with them moving on from the PS4. Genshin Impact is not on PS4. PUBG is leaving the PS4 behind. Every major first party game from now into the future is leaving the PS4 behind. So they're literally
Hey man, why they gotta do that for the PS4 folks, man? I'm a PS4 guy. All right, you guys watch yourselves. We're still around. All right, we haven't gone extinct yet. We're still here.
is not a cheaper option anymore for people who don't have a ton of cash to swing around, and they're just pricing
Middle
everyone
finger
out
to
of
you
the
guys'
hobby at this point.
faces.
Something is going to give in the gaming industry if it hasn't already. People cannot afford to spend this much on a console
Hell
and then turn
no,
around
we
and
ain't
pay
buying no
70 or
motherfucking
$80
console
for
no
games,
more. That's
especially
the
when
cost.
they're not living up to that price point with the
Fuck you
quality
and
of the
your
games.
mama.
They're putting out unfinished products and saying, oh, we can just bank on the brand, carrying this game along through launch, and then we'll fix it with patches later. Things are totally inverted and they need to change. So yeah, this sucks. I have a great video with a ton of positive news lined up coming after this, but yeah, if you want to get a PS5 for the normal price, this is your last chance. Sean Layden, the previous CEO of PlayStation,
Wait a
is
minute,
back.
they said
and while
today
usually I agree with his take
is your
on
last
stuff, this
day.
one is really just
Sorry,
bizarre to
East
me and
Coast
doesn't make
is
a whole lot
gone.
of sense. So his whole point is built around the idea that we'll never see a leap from PS2 to PS3 again, where you get like a super noticeable graphical increase, which is completely fair. But then the direction he goes in from it is blowing my mind because, again, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He says, I think we plateaued on the tech, frankly. How many of us can really tell the difference between 90 FPS and 120 FPS? Now, that's a really weird statement because a lot of people can tell the difference between 90 and 120, but those aren't the metrics that games are chasing. 90 FPS is only relevant because the Steam Deck screen is 90 hertz. So if you're playing an indie game like Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, for example, that's a game you would set to 90 hertz. But for literally
don't know
every
what
other
the heck
piece of
they're
hardware
doing to
in the
us
entire
right now.
gaming industry, the two metrics you're going for, or three really, is 30 FPS, 60 FPS, and 120 FPS.
Hey, you got
and then
yours
there's
at a
few
good
games
price,
in there where
Tucko.
if you have a
Man,
120 hertz
lucky,
monitor or
bruh.
TV,
You bought
they
yours
might
at,
have
like,
a
the
40
right
FPS mode
time.
like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where you can keep the ray tracing
Tomorrow
on, but
they
then
go
get the
up,
halfway point between
by
30 and 60, which is
$50, bro.
weirdly enough
Like,
40 FPS. So yeah, as someone who jumps between different resolutions, frame rates, and hertz all the time, like my Steam Deck is 30 FPS, my PC is up to 120, my PS5 is mostly at 60 depending on what game I'm playing. You can 100% tell the difference between all of them. So like that just reminds me of that argument they used to make back in the day where the human eye caps out at 24 FPS. Where did that come from? That is so unbelievably dumb and wrong that I can't believe an executive got it out there to the point where people actually believed it. So like on its face, he's just wrong. I think most people can see the difference because a lot of people are demanding 60 FPS this generation. Like last gen, they promised 4K from the PS4 Pro. They never really promised 60 FPS because they knew they couldn't hit it. But this generation, one of the marquee features of the PS5 was that for the beginning of the gen, we were seeing 60 FPS all the time because we were getting so many PS4 games.
What'd you
on
pay
the
for that
PS5,
bad
like God of War
boy?
Ragnarok, for example. So once you show people 60
Let's
FPS,
pause
you
this.
can't really go
What'd you pay for them two bad boys, bro? That's crazy.
back. So the problem isn't really that the tech is stagnated. It's that we're using engines that aren't living up to people's potential that they want to see from their console. I mean, how many times do we got to talk about the stuttering and frame drops and
Bro,
Unreal
you got
Engine 5?
some
It feels like he's
good-ass
deflecting
timing
from the
on
fact
that
that
one,
developers
bro.
are not finishing their
Like,
games
I'm
and are putting
low-key
out broken
jelly
products
on
and
that
people are complaining about it. Like there is a group of people, mass market people, who can see the difference between 60, 120, 40, and 30. So like already I think he's wrong in his assessment of the games industry and where it's going. But he continues on by saying, make the hardware cheaper and simpler. Let's do that instead. And let's find a way to have more hardware companies participate. So he's looking at things like how Xbox is doing it, where, they lost the console war. They were not able to keep up with their hardware with great games. So no one was buying their hardware. And now they're just kind of letting anyone use the Xbox name. Like you're getting the
I think
ROG
it was,
Xbox Ally later this year. I have to think about that title every
1K.
time because A,
Bro,
it's
now-
terrible, and B,
now
it
it's
is
gonna
bizarre
cost
that ROG
almost
is coming before
1K for
Xbox
one,
because that
bro.
says
Think
Asus
about
is looking
that.
at it like Asus ROG is a bigger, more recognizable brand than Xbox. And from
Bro, how does a 5-year-old console go up in value, bro? I think it's gone up altogether by like 150 or something, bro. That's crazy. It's nuts, man.
that perspective, they're on drugs, but like from another perspective, they had enough leverage to do it where Microsoft accepted and let Xbox come second in the naming structure. But Xbox is setting up their next generation where they're working with AMD to develop a PC chip that then Asus, Lenovo, Dell, whoever, like Alienware is Dell, I guess, they can all use that chip for the hardware and then put the Xbox branding on it. And that's what Sean Layden is suggesting for PlayStation. There's not a stupider move PlayStation could make than doing that. Like you've got Mark Cerny toiling away over in the hardware factory, coming up with great tech like the PS5 Pro, which while expensive, exclusive, is the best console I've ever owned, bar none. It is powerful, it is great, it is quick, it's snappy, it is everything I want a console to be, and they were able to do it
You know
without
what?
dramatically increasing the size
Maybe
of the PS5's
that's why
footprint.
the
When
cost of
they're
it's
that
going up. It's because of guys like this right here glazing it,
far
man.
ahead when it comes to actually making console hardware, it's not the solution to then take your name, PlayStation, and let Asus use it or let Valve use it. You should keep it and keep your identity, because that's what keeps your players engaged and keeps the fandom going around your brand. As you can see from people dramatically and very quickly leaving the Xbox brand behind for PlayStation and for Nintendo. Hell, they're even losing to Valve, guys. Like, the only reason they're working with Asus to make the Xbox ROG Ally and get the Xbox full screen platform going is because SteamOS is running laps around Windows in performance, usability, and every other metric you can think of, and they were able to do it in less than 3 years, which is absolutely insane. And yeah, in the perfect world, it would be amazing
Yeah,
to get
Sony
PS5
tripping,
Pro
bruh.
performance at the Series S price, but that's never going to happen because there's a set cost to all
Maybe
the components
return my
they use
camera
in these
real
consoles.
quick.
So we already know with the next generation, they're kind of doing this, where they're going to have high performance for the PlayStation 6, but they're going for the affordability factor of making sure it's in line with the current PS5 and not the PS5 Pro. So they're already doing
Should I
what he's
turn it
suggesting
up,
in a
or
much
is it
smarter
a
way
good,
than he is suggesting.
good
I do
volume
not
right
want
now
a PlayStation Series
for the
S.
video?
I don't want to see what happened to Xbox happen to PlayStation, where they were completely held back by the Series S. And Sony, on the other hand, was kind of held back by the PS4. We talked about that in the last video, but the difference is Sony knows when to move on. Games like Genshin Impact, games like PUBG, all of the first-party Sony games are leaving the PS4 behind, whereas Xbox still has their rule in place that says if you want to make a game for Xbox Series X, you also have to ship it for the Xbox Series S, and developers have been straight up in saying that that's holding gaming back. So while, yeah, he is right on the one hand that we aren't going to see a PS2 to PS3 like jump in the future, I think the jump could account for the fact that people want to see 60 FPS. And yes, Sean Layden, you can see the difference between 60 and 120 or 90 and 120. And I'd like to see games actually be able to just continually hit that benchmark, which has been a too high bar to clear this generation. Like 60 should be the low point, but now we're begging for 30 and it sucks. But speaking of Sony continuing to make their platform better, which is what they should be doing and not what Sean Layden suggested, that would be a bad idea. Once again, they've continued to make the PS Store better this year, and I feel like they deserve some props
Hey,
for
what
it.
you
And they
what
do
you
too,
think
clearly,
about the
because they put out an article that just details everything they did. So the first thing
what
they
you think
added
about
this year
this
was
video,
Apple Pay.
though?
Like, look, I have an iPhone.
Do you be watching videos like these, or you just watching it because I'm watching it?
I use a Mac to edit all my videos. I like PC gaming, but I hate Windows. I like Apple Pay. I like that I don't have to use my debit card anymore and that it scrambles the card number so it can't get skimmed. And as someone who's had their PlayStation Network stuff stolen multiple times, Apple Pay is just a little bit more secure. So I think it's cool that Sony was able to get that thrown in there. And because they wanted to implement Apple Pay, they also had to implement Passkey, which means, you know, when you're purchasing something on the PlayStation Store with Apple Pay, it connects to your phone, you scan your face, you're able to let that purchase go through. So if someone is able, God forbid, to steal your PlayStation Network login info, they'd have to have your phone on them to actually buy any V-Bucks credits or anything like that, and that heavily disincentivizes people from even trying to steal your account in the first place. So I think that was a big improvement. And the other great thing they added this year that's worth highlighting is the star rating system. I think it has a little bit of a ways to go. Like, I think it could be as good as Steam's rating system, which goes from overwhelmingly negative to mostly negative to mixed to positive to mostly positive to overwhelmingly positive. And it's a great system because it tells you whether or not a game is worth full price, or if the developers are doing something shady, you can review bomb it. It puts a lot of power in the hands of the gamers, which I really like. And the star rating system is a good middle ground. They put the check in place that says you have to own the game to actually do it, which I think is great because Steam has a lot of rules in place like that as well. So if you're not someone who watches reviews or doesn't want to take the time to like look if a game's actually good or scan Reddit, you can actually just look at the star rating system and see reviews of games from actual players. And I think that was a great step in the right direction from Sony that they haven't gotten a lot of credit for. And the coolest thing is that feature is one that they've added in that people actually use. So like, I think every platform should have some way to rate games and tell you whether or not is good, because that's a good way to get info from actual players and not people who, you know, are looking for games that push their agenda or, you know, reaffirm their beliefs or whatever. It gets a much more filtered sort of look into what people who actually play games are saying about games, and that can be good when you're trying to pick how to spend your money. And these days, I mean, it's really tough to figure out how to spend your money. So anything Sony can do to help you make the right decision, especially when they don't have an easy and simple refund system in place like Steam does, I'm all for that. So while the PlayStation Network still needs a lot of work, between all the improvements to PS Plus Premium with the game trials they've done this year and the overall improvements to the PlayStation 4 itself, I think they're heading in the right direction,
I'm not
which is
looking
making
for
the
a
PS
new
ecosystem
console or
as easy to
PC
interact with
anymore.
as possible and just get you playing more good games,
Bendito.
which should be the ultimate goal. And finally,
Yeah.
I wanted to just quickly cover the Battlefield
I
versus
stumbled
Call of
upon
Duty
this fool
situation
when I
because
was
it's
looking
honestly
into
getting
all
pretty
this.
interesting. So on the Call of Duty side,
And I figured, is he actually like he drops videos like, I think almost like every day, talking about what's going on in the gaming world. There's a couple of people.
they're trying something new this
You'll
year
see.
where they're slowly moving away
If
from single
anything,
player.
if
And
anything,
they're
I'll
kind of
show you my
connecting
home
into the
feed,
multiplayer.
so you'll
So if
see
all
who
these
I be
rumors do
watching.
end up being true, the Black Ops 7 campaign is going to end with their extraction mode, and
Hey,
you're going to have to actually
Black
make
Ops
it out of the
7
extraction.
is basura. Wait. What do we say? Basura.
Mode to finish the story and get the final cutscene.
Bro,
I
I
think that's
gave up
interesting.
on that
I'm
Call
just
of
looking at
Duty
it kind of cynically and saying
BS,
like,
bro.
oh, they've got a new multiplayer mode that they want to take over the
Too many
industry. What's
cheaters
an
on
easy
that
way to get people
mugga.
into that multiplayer mode, make it the end of the story? I think they have much bigger problems to worry about, like the cut and paste sort of nature that Call of Duty has taken on, the movie skins, the Fortniteization of Call of Duty. Those are all big things they have to worry about that they haven't seemingly addressed in any way. But then on the Battlefield side, I mean, this beta is really fun. I played it over the weekend with my buddies. I think the time to kill is a little too low, but
Yeah,
other than
that's the
it ran
reason,
great. It
bro.
looked great. The shooting felt awesome. I love
Shout
the
out to you,
conquest
man.
mode
You
still.
noticed
I
what I
haven't
was
played it in
noticing,
a
huh?
long time, so it feels very fresh to me. The rush mode needs a little bit of work, but as far as betas go, I mean, the game could ship tomorrow, and I think it'd be in pretty good shape. So I'm going to buy it day one in October, and I'm just wondering what the catch is with this game because EA seems to be doing everything right. But Battlefield 6 seems to be just the beginning. Like, one of Battlefield's biggest issues is that it's on a much longer development cycle than Call of Duty because Activision has always had multiple studios working on a Call of Duty at any given time, so they can release it on a 3-year dev cycle, but have one come out every year. So you've got 3 main studios working on 3 main games, and it's a conveyor belt system where sometimes they have to move which ones come out first around, but largely it's worked out pretty well for them. And I was wondering if EA would want to get there with Battlefield, and it looks like that's exactly what they're trying to do because analysts are reporting that internally they are trying to get Battlefield on an annual release schedule, but they're not doing it in the dumb way where they have one studio grind and grind and grind and crunch and crunch and crunch to release a game every year that's not going to be finished. They're opening up more studios to make sure there's always a Battlefield game in development, and they're going to try and get it on that same studio life cycle. So when you compare Call of Duty being
Bro,
cynical and just trying to get your engagement and
that's
try to get
probably
you
how
spending
much
money
it's
on movie
gonna.
skins to
That's probably how much it's gonna cost me to get, like, let's say a PS5 Pro with a disc on that mug, and don't forget a game. Oh my gosh, dude, it costs too much, man. See, why would I want to do that when I got a Vantage and I could just get a what do you call that? A PC and get Steam, bruh. Why not? Like, seriously, that's
Battlefield
what I'm
listening to
thinking about
fans
now,
and trying to do
bro.
everything
Like,
right and then get on that annual schedule. I think we could
and I'm gonna have AI build my PC for me, bruh. Make that thing outlast a PS6.
finally see Call of Duty be on the back foot for a little while, which will only result in a better Call of Duty game in the long run. So we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, I think Battlefield 6 is shaping up really well. I'm excited to play it, and I'm glad because Battlefield was always my favorite between the two growing up. I love Battlefield 3 and 4. Battlefield 1 is awesome. I'm not going to talk about Battlefield 5, but even Hardline was pretty good. So it's nice to see them
No,
finally
the reason
that
why I said PS5 Pro is because it's $750, and I think it costs like $80 for like the disc, right? And on top of that, you gotta get a game, you know, and that's hella whack. That's the part that's gonna make it hella whack. Might as well save extra 300 for a PC. Well, no, well, depending on what you're gonna get for the PC
there's
though,
stuff
because sometimes certain parts for a PC is not even there, you know.
out and getting a good game
But it's
out
all
there that
good
people
though,
are genuinely
because
enjoying. Anyway,
like
guys, that's all I've got for you in today's
from
video. As always,
so
my name is
from
Jimmy
what
Shea.
I hear is that PC parts are like they're low key like plateauing. They can't really come out with any new stuff anymore. Like,
Campaign. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.
latest stuff hasn't even really been doing anything. Hey, shout out to your boy over there, PS Ready, man. Subscribe to that guy. We'll like this video. You know what I mean? On to the next video.
I heard about your DUI that you got.
It goes like
What's that
plus
Dude, that's what's up.
tax
You got a DUI
So,
for being stoned?
100 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that wasn't even
bro. Don't forget, PlayStation Plus. Bro, do the math, bro. Do the
my
math.
buddy Bucky is a DJ.
Crazy.
And he'd get cool gigs and I'd go with him. And just help him set up and then I'd go do my thing, mingle and smoke. And we drove to Reno. I smoked in California. So
You know what? Let's save this one. Let's watch this guy.
So it has been quite some time since I last talked about Mr. Beast. We all know that he was the hottest news story on YouTube last year. when his best friend Chris got exposed for his past actions with kids in their community. And then of course that guy Dogpack came out with his multi-part series where he attempted to take him down altogether.
Hi, I wanted to provide some context to this video. I'm a former MrBeast employee, and today I am alleging that the company rigged videos and did illegal lotteries and sold fake signatures. I would consider that fraud, okay? Thank you, enjoy the video.
And so everyone was hating on Jimmy for a couple of months. I actually heard that Pegasus bought a mansion with all the slop he made, and then the situation just kinda concluded when Oompaville would interview MrBeast for 2.5 hours, lobbing this man softball after softball with very limited pushback.
Did you think it would get this big?
No, I mean, truthfully, I honestly thought a lot of people would find like the information proving the dishonesty earlier.
The Google?
Yeah, like, because a lot of this could have been, just figure out Google. A lot of this.
And that was essentially the end of that situation. Yes, MrBeast may have lost some steam temporarily, but I feel like he has largely recovered, and most of that is now in the past. It's not like he lost his major deal with Amazon. And I will also say, this guy Dogpack is pretty much MIA. I think he was spooked away by a potential lawsuit.
Are you going to sue Dogpack?
Caused a lot of harm to my businesses. I mean, I've literally had people pull out millions of dollars and then tell me it was directly because of his video. And don't worry, I instantly was like, can you send that in writing? So, you know, if I win a case or anything, I can directly point damages. No reason why. And like, I don't want to be put in this situation, but probably gonna have to. I mean,
and historically, the other criticism of MrBeast has been the way he does his charity, and really how he frames his content. Like, even Meat Canyon has gotten in on the action when it comes to taking the piss out of MrBeast.
I want you to have $50,000. Take it. Also a Tesla. Don't forget about the Tesla. I know how much you need a car in your life. Oh, this is premium content. Yes.
This all has caused people to claim that he is literally the Antichrist, as people see his style as exploitative in nature, basically saying that Jimmy has built $1 billion brands by showcasing the suffering of others for eventual profit for himself. I mean, truthfully, I do not really watch enough of his content to feel any type of way about it, but I will say that something about the guy and his lack of emotions and his dead eyes does really creep me out on a personal level. It's almost as if Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg made a Gen Z love child in a laboratory somewhere. Like, listen, Mark, we don't give a fuck if you grow your hair out and you throw on an oversized black t-shirt. You are not fooling me. I know you got reptile skin, son. Now, either way, MrBeast's latest philanthropy attempt has been Team Water, an initiative that hopes to provide clean water to people all around the world who do not have access to it. So his plan is to raise $40 million to do so, and he claims that he can give 2 million people access to this water for decades on end if they do raise this money.
Is one of the 3 tanks that's going to be providing clean drinking water to over 300 people in the community. This tank, when completed, will hold 15,000 liters of water, paired with a mechanism to clean the water, disinfect it, and make it safe to drink.
Once this is done being built, how long is the tank supposed to service the community for?
Easily for at least 15 to 20 years.
Now, over and over, he brands this by claiming that every dollar raised will result in 1 year of clean water for one person.
Which is why we need your help to raise $40 billion. On average, every dollar donated will provide one person with clean water for an entire year.
Just every dollar we fundraise, we're working with a charity called WaterAid, gives a year of clean water to someone in need.
Every dollar.
Every dollar.
But at the end of the day, $1 gives one person clean water for a year.
Bro, you know, I can't really say anything bad about MrBeast because he's a fellow YouTuber, and you know, we be YouTubing. And hey, man, he doing good things for YouTube.
Honestly, I do find
but sometimes you be thinking like, man, you do too much good, bro. Is there any bad that you do? But that's about it, man. I don't know. I don't even know MrBeast like that. We just know he be throwing money at people.
Hard to believe that he can confidently say that, because while it does sound good on paper, how would you even compute that number? I see it as psychological marketing more than anything, which is fine, like other charities do this, like adopting a kid for X amount of money, helping X amount of dogs for X amount of money, maybe we'll send you a picture of an endangered animal, maybe a t-shirt. Whatever it is, it's kind of just a way to make people feel more like they can put a tangible result behind their donation. But where people started questioning his tactics was around the time he appeared on various live streams, essentially pressuring large creators and other wealthy individuals live to donate.
Your friends here were saying you were a very generous soul.
Are you really gonna do this shit? I fucking did the McDonald's drive-thru, and it's gonna happen to me. Oh my god. Oh, what are you trying to get me? Just fucking give me a number. Just give me a number, Jimmy.
Jinxie, Logan, they both just committed $100,000, and I see tweets all the time about how you're the most watched Twitch streamer, like watch time every month. You're like crushing it.
And you know what? You know how much I got paid for that? 17 cents.
You're putting people on the spot.
Nah.
Hey, they put me on the spot too, man. And now I'm broke.
I'm not gonna donate $100,000. I'm gonna be honest. That's a lot of money.
It's fine.
So
$10 is
yeah,
for clean water.
What the
people, y'all
hell,
put me on the
Jimmy?
spot. Y'all try to make me.
Maybe that's why he's asking people to donate. He's probably got to pay off the pirates to get off the water.
Look like an asshole. That's what's going on.
That's
I know what's going on here.
crazy.
And don't get me wrong, most of these people do have more money than they
you
likely
can never
deserve,
have anything
but I
good
feel
in
like
this
at the end
life,
of the
bro.
day, people should do what they want with their money. And I'm sure there are local or more personal causes they could donate their money to that would see a bigger impact than just blindly throwing money into this because Mr. Beast says it's good. There were others who also shared the sentiment of basically, why should I donate to this after being peer pressured to do so if Mr. Beast is going to take all the credit anyways?
Team Water, what do you think of when you think of that? You're not thinking of any other creator except Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast gets all the credit. So, you know, when he's, you know, asking people to donate on his stream and stuff and pressuring them, and I think it's just kind of a little weird. Like, bro, when they're pressuring these creators to donate money and everything for that, I can see why some creators don't want to do it because it's Mr. Beast's name that gets all the recognition. It's not Bill Bob Jr. II donating $1 million that's going to get the recognition. It's going to be Mr. Beast raises over $10 million to Team Water.
Now this begging pattern would really escalate when he would go on a Team Water charity stream with Aiden Ross and XQC of all people, where they vowed to stay on until they reached $8 million in donations. In the end, the stream would actually last 18 hours, and they would successfully destroy their goal with $12 million donated. And this would actually set an apparent world record, something Mr. Beast was very happy about, calling it his biggest flex. Now I will say during the stream, Jimmy exhibited some very strange behavior, like I said, mainly when it came to pressuring people to donate.
Also, you guys pledged this money a long time ago, and everyone else already gave it. Actually, some of your boys haven't donated yet. So,
Who?
I got the list. We gotta do a little bit of a shakedown.
Okay, let's do it. Let's call it out live.
You really want to know who hasn't donated yet?
Yeah, come on.
Los Polos. He pledged 100K? No 100K?
Okay, he'll do it.
I followed up with him multiple times. Kodak Black.
Whoa, let's go back. He said, look at this shit. He said what? He said what? Let's slow it down. Oh my goodness.
Who?
I got the list.
Look at this. Dude, look at this.
You guys pledged this money a long time ago, and everyone else already gave it. Actually, some of your boys haven't donated yet. So,
Who?
I got the list.
I got a
We gotta do a
list.
little bit of a shakedown.
Okay, let's do it. Let's call it out live.
You really want to know who hasn't donated yet?
Yeah, come on.
Los Polos. He pledged 100K? No 100K?
Okay, he'll do it.
I followed up with him multiple times. Kodak Black.
It wasn't him on his account. Yeah, I found out.
Can he just donate 50K anyways? Young Thug.
Young Thug will do it.
Keep calling.
It's like he's using his
He
influence.
he says, Young Thug would do it. Can you call him? Can you call him right now? This man's just bold, bro.
Influence and social power, and also the fact that they are on a live stream to put people on the spot to get these donations, some of which he had never even talked to a single time previously.
Debt collector here, where's that 100 G's?
Dude, what the hell?
Where's,
Why am I getting pressed like this?
where's the 100 grand? It's 100,000 years of clean water for people in need.
Dude, I haven't streamed it. Like I said, I'm doing 100 and then whatever my chat donates. I told you that.
Okay.
Oh, he did say that though. He did say that though.
Okay, I forgot.
And I will say, he himself did donate over $500,000 to kick the entire thing off, but his tactics just came off as very bizarre to me. Probably because of the way he speaks about large quantities of money like it's literally nothing.
Dude, I'm playing some Counter-Strike right now. I'm live too.
Oh, let's go. Well, Aiden, get your toes off the table.
Sorry.
Please.
No, let him keep his toes on the table, bro.
Nah, that's crazy, Rug. You can't be saying that unless you're donating some money. I saw in one of your videos you got a nice house. You got a lot going for you. The view's been high. What are you doing? 100 million this month? Every dollar's, a year of clean water for someone in need. What do you think, Rug?
First off, amazing cause. What can I do? I'll definitely donate to the cause for sure. And I just don't know off the top of my head what I would do.
All right, I don't want to peer pressure you. What about 5Gs?
That's
He's
light. I mean, I would say at least 10.
Oh, okay. Well, then at least, then sounds like you can do more. Can we get a 15? 15 grand?
We'll get a 15 grand in there. We'll get a 15
grand. Okay, hey, donate it live on stream. Shout out to Rug.
100%, we got you.
Hey, he's rocking my merch being a freaking a tax collector, bro. Come on.
15.
All right, thank you, man. Catch you later.
Let's go. Hey, of course.
Let's do some math right here, boys. That 15 grand I just got us. Does that even make a difference?
Hey, that's hilarious. It does look like he's rocking the shirt though.
What percentage 15 grand of 8 million? Someone do the, hey, Luke, can you do the math? What percent of $8 million is $15,000?
No idea.
I just don't understand the concept of begging someone to donate and then immediately saying that a $15,000 donation is pointless. Like, is this a charity or is it a pseudo dick measuring contest? There was also this weird moment after some workers came in and set up some sort of like shark mechanical bull-esque device, and he ironically did not want to give them water.
We got the thumbs up.
Hey, you guys want some? You guys want some water?
Nah, we'll get him some water in a bit.
Hey, Chris, get them some water, please.
Other than that, you had some more
the
candid
hell?
moments from Jimmy, where he said things he normally would not say due to his now like family-friendly brand.
Yo, I fuck with this. I fuck with that.
These are like blanket pigs.
Yeah, they taste like jizz in your mouth.
Huh? But how do you know what that tastes like though?
Do you like Feastables?
No.
No. Kidding.
He also kept talking about a snake potentially biting his dick.
He's hungry. I don't like it. No, he's getting towards my D. No! No!
Say goodbye to your D.
Don't touch my D. Don't touch my D. Okay. All right, I feel better. It's off my D. I was getting nervous, man. Yo, what if that one bit my D in half?
Then we had content finally.
I don't know, man. Like,
all right,
that would hurt.
You would still have your D.
And they even got this man Aiden oiled up on some Diddy shit.
This is what doing a Mr. Beast stream is. Really? L loser. Jimmy, this is what you got me doing, bro? There's baby all on my face.
But let's be honest, the guy is probably used to being in that position by now, as he eats the gunk from his very own feet. But yeah, I do find Mr. Beast to be a kind of awkward guy, but I'll also say at the end of the day, he does do good things for people in need, and maybe he is jaded and defensive over his charity efforts because lies about his philanthropy have gone viral in the past. Like when people were claiming that the 100 wells he built in Uganda back in 2023 were no longer functioning due to a lack of funding and maintenance. There was zero evidence to substantiate this claim, and he would debunk this by having someone visit all 100 of them to show they're still working just fine in the current day. But I don't know, there is just something so ironic about the humanity guy coming off as so robotic. The guy trying to save society at every turn, and he's kind of made that his whole brand, at the same time seems painfully disconnected from the reality of most people, and the way they view money. It's really kind of the same issue that people had with his Amazon series, something about it felt very dystopian. And when I compare him to someone like Ryan Trahan, the difference is truly night and day when it comes to how genuine this guy comes off in his content. I don't know, no matter what you do, someone is always going to be outraged. I do want to know what you guys think about this situation down below. Do you think as long as it's a net positive, it doesn't really matter how we get there? Or do you think that the whole thing was just a little bit cringy, a little bit strange? I mean, you got a billionaire here begging for donations from his friends, asking for numbers. I want to know y'all's thoughts down below. I do also want to thank you guys for watching today's video, dropping a like and subscribing. But as you guys know, it's been your boy, the Tan Superman, and some other cringe out here needs to be covered. So I'm out. Peace.
And the average donation's like $4, so that's Tooth Fairy money, right? That's bake sale.
Yeah, the
content available than ever before, and yet most people feel like there is something missing. There was once a time where it felt like we were all on the same wavelength when it came to entertainment and pop culture. Everything felt more impactful. Movies were bigger, music spread further, famous people were actually famous, awards meant something, and if there was a shocking story in the news, it was impossible to miss. It was much easier to have your finger on the pulse of pop culture, and it created this bond that we had together as strangers, and we took it for granted because now that that bond is gone, the world of entertainment, music, movies, shows, social media feels oversaturated, confusing, and dull. I bet most of you can relate to this. How many times these days does someone say to you, "Hey, did you hear about," or "Hey, did you see," and not only is your answer no, but you literally have no idea what they are talking about. Life wasn't always like that. What we are missing today and for the past few years is a monoculture, which is essentially one culture that all Americans are connected to. Sometimes I even call it the death of mainstream, because nothing really feels mainstream anymore. Every decade had their own version of monoculture that was seemingly easily defined, but what will define the 2020s? Monoculture is dead, and for anyone watching this that's like, a teenager, or younger, it means nothing because they can't relate to that experience. But literally anyone older than that remembers their version of monoculture and probably misses it because it represents a much more simple time. Every generation before Gen Alpha had limited options for entertainment, and they thought it was a burden, flipping through TV channels saying, oh, there's nothing to watch. But now our options are infinite. 3.7 million YouTube videos uploaded every day, one streaming service with every song ever made, and 100,000 new songs being uploaded every day. Dozens of subscription services with thousands of movies and TV shows, a literal endless singular feed of short-form videos that one can spend hours without realizing the time has passed. And
you seen that? Out of all those videos, man, you here with me, dog. Out of all them billions of videos, you right here with me. Eh? Stay that tungaiku to quit whatever it is you do.
Despite having access to all of this content, a lot of us feel bored and disconnected from each other. Well, today I want to talk about that feeling. That feeling like something is missing. I believe it is tied to the death of monoculture. So let's dive into how we got here, where it went wrong, and actually why some of you might consider it to be a good thing. Entertainment has always evolved based on the available technology. The easier it is to consume, the less impactful it is. Movie theater ticket sales had their all-time peak in the US in 1946. Over 90 million weekly admissions were reported, which means that about 60% of the US population went to go see a movie that year. Now, were movies objectively better in 1946? Absolutely not. There were just less of them, and less entertainment overall. The introduction of the television likely slowed down movie ticket sales, but opened up a whole new opportunity for entertainment. Cartoons, sitcoms, and of course, ads. You've probably never heard of Spokeo, Truthfinder, or been verified, but they've definitely heard of you. These are data brokers. Their entire business model is collecting your personal info and selling it to anyone willing to pay. They provide reports like this that have information about you, including your contact info, address, your relatives, and maybe even from these sketchy sites. But even television has its limitations. You had to watch the show at the exact time it aired, or you missed it and had to wait for someone to tell you what happened the next day. Or even worse, you had to read this book called The TV Guide to figure out when they were going to air a rerun. Plus, there were only a few channels, so competition for attention was fierce. But that also meant that millions of people were watching the same thing at the same time. With most households operating on 9-to-5 work schedules, the only time carved out to entertain yourself was between 7 and 10. This was known as prime time, and that's when the few good shows were on. Families watched the same things together, and a new episode airing at 8 p.m. on a weeknight could dominate school hallways and office break rooms the next day. Worst case scenario, you could stay up for late night television where Letterman would catch you up on all your pop culture news. We were connected as humans, kind of operating on the same wavelength, and the entertainment added to our humanity. That is, unless you were entirely disinterested from the few available shows and movies, then you had no other options, your life sucked, and you were looking for other forms of entertainment like heroin. But at least back then, it didn't have fentanyl in it. But the way people consumed movies and television stayed relatively the same for decades.
Hey, shout out to these folks right here, man. Patrick C. Man, these guys, they be doing some informative things, man.
1970s and 95% of households had a TV in it. And then in the 80s and 90s, there was a massive uptick in available entertainment, like an entire TV channel dedicated to showing music videos, or an entire channel dedicated to showing cartoons. But even with more niche options, primetime shows still dominated pop culture, and Americans still felt a sense of togetherness through a somewhat limited availability. Is music not hitting the same anymore? Doesn't it feel like you used to have a connection with others based on a shared love for the same music? Well, music had a similar permeating connection to monoculture with a few key differences. For most of the 20th century, music was somewhat of a luxury. Today, for $15 a month, you can get access to every song ever made and 100,000 new ones uploaded daily. $15 used to get you one album, and you had to take your happy ass to a record store and physically buy it. And if the album was in high enough demand, they might not actually have it. And that seems like a dumb thing to say, but in our modern culture, entertainment is never not available to you. These stores often had a strong sense of community and served as a gathering place for music fans. It wasn't unusual for artists to stop in and play mini concerts or sign albums before an appearance in a particular city. When people bought an album, they were now invested. They worked hard for that money. So to get the value back, they actually listened to the whole thing. They even tried to like the songs that they didn't initially like because they paid for it, which ultimately made them appreciate the artistry on a different depth. This uninterrupted focus on the music built a deeper connection from the fans to the artist. Fans had to imagine what their favorite musicians were like based on lyrics, a few interviews, and carefully staged photographs in magazines or posters on their wall. There was a mystique. Pop stars felt larger than life, almost like fictional characters, which is why people would pass out at the mere sight of Michael Jackson. Today we have countless countless interviews and endless access to all of their thoughts and opinions on social media. That mystery is gone. Artists are more accessible than ever, and because of that, they feel less special. And since music was basically a luxury, most people didn't have tons of disposable income to buy every release they wanted to listen to, so they typically resorted to listening to the radio or watching MTV. You couldn't just search your favorite Guns N' Roses song and get that instant gratification. You had to turn on MTV and just wait for it to come on, but in the meantime, you were consuming tons of other good songs that made you a more well-rounded music listener. And that was the same predicament for everyone. So at school dances, parties, or clubs, everyone felt connected because...
See, that's why I said I can't be a fan of one artist. Like, I'm just a fan of music, bro. Like, I like a gang of artists, like certain songs. I don't like the whole... I wouldn't even like the whole album, bro. I don't even like one or two songs out of it.
The songs that were
unlike some people I know, man,
being played were the ones that everyone had the same access to. A lot of club DJs today still mostly play music from the 2010s, and a lot of people wonder why they aren't playing more modern music. Like, are we all crippled by nostalgia? Well, not necessarily, but when you play music from the 2010s, you can kind of guarantee that everyone in the club is going to know those songs. Whereas today, everyone just listens to vastly different music. What's considered extremely popular and mainstream to you might literally not be considered extremely popular and mainstream to the person next to you. Today, we have unlimited access to every song ever made. When a new song or album drops, it is just right there in your phone. You don't have to talk to anyone, don't have to buy it, don't have to wait. Most of the time, the artist is actually begging you to listen to it, or you accidentally found out about it. You didn't even want to discover it. Most people have resorted to just letting the algorithm decide what music to recommend to them because it's easier than doing all of the effort I just talked about before. Combine this lack of mono connectivity through music, requiring absolutely no effort to get access to the music, as well as artists not having the star power due to overexposure and surprise, music holds absolutely no value to the average casual listener. Once we entered the 2000s, the rapid advancement of available technology caused a dominant monoculture to become more fragmented. TVs were becoming cheaper, bigger, and higher quality. The internet was getting faster, becoming easier to access and navigate. Cell phones were in everyone's pocket. We were becoming more connected than ever, but we didn't realize it was actually going to drive us further apart. In my opinion, 2000 to 2010 was a great sweet spot for pop culture. I would describe today's culture as everything all at once, and the early 2000s was the same, but it was slightly more manageable. Let's start simple. Movies. Here's a graph of every movie released per year around the world. You can see the quantity of movies released remained relatively the same from the early 1970s to the late 1990s, and it just started slowly ramping up in the 2000s before it exponentially exploded. Back then, there was a rhythm to it all. You'd get 2 or 3 massive blockbusters every summer, movies like Spider-Man, Pirates of the Caribbean, or The Dark Knight, which dominated culture for weeks. As fall and winter rolled in, you'd see smaller budget, more experimental.
Yo. Question. Who's your favorite Spider-Man? And if you ask me who's my favorite Spider-Man is, it has to be Toby, bruh. Didn't you see that Toby don't need to replace anything in here, bro? He shoots his web right there, homie. All natural, baby. All natural.
Experimental or just simple films rise to the surface. Movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Little Miss Sunshine, Juno, and Requiem for a Dream. Everyone kind of knew what was coming and when it was coming, and that predictability created a shared sense of anticipation. Even smaller budget films had a shot at becoming massive, and the reason they had a shot was because people actually went to the theaters. Our last peak in movie theater ticket sales was in 2002 when 1.5 billion tickets were sold. But even if you didn't go to the theater, we had these really cool things called DVDs, where you could buy the movie that you missed and watch it at home. And if you didn't want to commit to buying it, no worries. You could rent the film for a few bucks by going to this magical place called Blockbuster. This is a store where you could essentially browse all of the movies that you didn't get the chance to see. You would actually...
Okay, everybody talks about Blockbuster, but nobody talks about Hollywood Videos. Huh? Y'all some haters.
Talk to the employee who worked there, and they would give you a recommendation.
Or about when they used to say, be kind and rewind.
Or tell you what everyone else is renting. Sometimes a movie was in such high demand that all of their copies would be rented and you couldn't get it. Imagine that. Imagine any form of entertainment being unavailable for you today. Scarcity created demand, and it made the film more exciting. It made you want to watch it more. Most of those crappy yet special early 2000s comedies were the perfect films to pick up at a Blockbuster, and people loved that place. The company earned $5 billion in revenue in 2004. The point is that you and everyone around you had this physical connection with the entertainment and was actively using their brain to choose what what they wanted to consume. TV still had a somewhat similar rhythm in the 2000s. Primetime was still valuable airtime. MTV was in its best era, in my opinion, having a plethora of terrible yet oddly captivating reality TV shows and experimental series while still having their sister network, MTV2, play music videos 24/7. It was one of the most versatile eras for mainstream music, with lyrical rap, crunk rap, rock, emo rock, country, pop, EDM, R&B, and countless other genres in a healthy rotation on MTV and the radio. It was just on the cusp of being overwhelming, but having it all contained on MTV and VH1 made it still manageable to keep up with. Kids were absolutely consumed by Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network, which were 3 separate networks that each had 2 to 3 shows worth paying attention to in their respective eras. We still had a healthy separation between our personal lives and our school and work life from 9 to 5, only entertaining ourselves lightly in the morning and in the evenings. We didn't have a phone to distract us from literally every millisecond of boredom. The entertainment options still felt limited enough that you could...
Bro, how does it feel to be outliving things, bruh? That's crazy. What the heck? I've outlived the 99-cent store.
feel like everyone around you was on the same wavelength. Plus, we were still at the mercy of knowing the schedule of when new shows were going to air. But that started to die when cable companies provided DVR capabilities. You could now record your favorite shows and movies and watch them later whenever you wanted. This was the beginning of the streaming service era takeover that so many people today loathe. Today, you may feel like you are not as connected to the culture because 1, less people are going to the theaters, and 2, the DVD and TV business has been demolished by streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, etc. Being able to stream anything, anywhere, anytime, all while being alone in your room means there's no anticipation, no excitement, nobody to share the experience with, and therefore, no real reason to watch, which is why you simply scroll and scroll through endless choices, waiting for something to magically grab your attention, waiting for something to give you a reason to watch, but it just never happens.
Baby.
On a lighter note, every now and again, we do have a monoculture moment. I think back to the Barbie movie where girls were excited to dress in all pink and drag their boyfriends to the theaters, only for the guys to immediately after drag their girls to see Oppenheimer, where I'm assuming many of them fell asleep. I think back to Squid Games, where it felt like everyone and their mother was blindsided by this dystopian critique of capitalism disguised as a fucked up game show. As far as films go, it feels like it's only every couple of years where there is a moment that we are all in sync, when it used to be literally all year, every year. I can't even remember the last time music had a monoculture moment. I mean, sure, radio is still kind of relevant. TikTok made popular songs more popular, but there's so much music all over the place, all the time, that I don't even know what anybody's listening to anymore. For TV, Yellowstone, Severance, White Lotus, Love Island, I mean, they are extremely popular, but can we say everyone is watching those shows? Will those shows define this era? I bet there are a ton of you watching that are like, I didn't watch a single one of those shows. The irony of it all is that the death of a unified culture everyone seems to be feeling came with our pursuit to be more connected than ever before, because the adaptation of the internet and social media into our everyday lives was the nail in the coffin for monoculture. By the turn of the century, everyone with extra cash had a computer somewhere in the house. Our parents were using them to basically replace what the newspaper did for decades. As the desktops and internet connection got faster, we looked at forums, chatted through AOL Instant Messenger, played simple flash games on Newgrounds, and even bid on random antiques from eBay. Being connected to random people all over the world was beautiful. You were no longer limited to the thoughts, beliefs, and interests of those in your geographical location. The internet was still somewhat difficult to navigate. You know, there was a time when Google didn't have all the answers. You had to check other search engines like Yahoo and my favorite, Ask Jeeves, to find what you were looking for. Videos would take forever to load, the quality was often terrible, and sometimes just straight up didn't work. Using the internet kind of felt like exploring uncharted land. That friction, scarcity, and lack of instant gratification was what made it special. It was worth working for. Today, we just expect things to work. We demand convenience, and we are willing to give up our human autonomy for it. Initially, the entertainment industry as a whole saw the internet as a threat because of piracy. Suddenly, millions of people could download movies, music, and TV shows for free through networks like Napster, LimeWire, and torrent sites, completely bypassing traditional revenue models. Studios, labels, and networks feared the collapse of their business structures, as physical sales and TV deals were at the risk of being replaced. The internet stripped them of control, and for the first time, the consumer had the power to access content without paying a cent. From the consumer's perspective, the logic was simple. Why pay for something when you can get it for free instantly? Piracy wasn't just about being cheap, it was about convenience. Buying a CD or DVD meant going to a store, spending 10 to $20, and hoping you'd like the full album or movie. Then again, people didn't realize the nuanced value of the additional human experiences they got while consuming entertainment. All that driving to the store, talking to people, limited inventory, sitting on a sticky theater seat, that was all just considered to be an inconvenient cost of getting what you wanted. But you couldn't argue against It's the value that the internet brought to individuals. It gave everyone a voice, a platform, and endless options tailored exactly to their preferences. And that ramped up significantly in 2003 when MySpace became the first widely accepted platform for social media. By 2005, the platform had around 300 million users and had an estimated valuation of over $10 billion. The platform allowed people to share their personal passions and stories as individuals. If nobody in your real life aligned with your interests, you would be able to find a community of like-minded people online. People started calling random strangers on the internet their friends. They became invested in their lives, wanting to know what they were doing in their geographical location. Your connection to random people around the world started to make you disconnected from those physically around you. Slowly, the digital world began to feel more important than the physical one. As platforms evolved, first with Facebook, then Instagram, and eventually TikTok, the focus shifted even further away from a shared experience and towards personal branding. Algorithms were designed not to connect people as a whole, but to keep you personally engaged, feeding you content you already agreed with or found entertaining. The internet became less of a town square and more of an echo chamber, reflecting only your own tastes, beliefs, and biases back at you, just so you wouldn't click off the app. Social media stopped being about community and became a stage where everyone was the main character of their own story. It made individuals feel more powerful than ever, which could be considered a good thing, but it also created a cultural landscape more narcissistic, divisive, and isolated than any era in history. So the reason why movies, TV, YouTube, social media, and literally all other forms of entertainment don't feel the same is a combination of really complicated nuances. However, with a shift in mentality, you could look at all of this as a good thing. If you are a strong-minded individual, introverted, or just someone who doesn't really care about a sense of community and those around you, you are in the golden ages. For decades, if you didn't fit into the narrow lens of what the mainstream deemed valuable, if you didn't like the biggest pop star or wear the right clothes or relate to the 5 TV shows everyone else watched, you were invisible. You had nowhere to go. You were the weird kid, the quiet one, the one who didn't belong. But now the internet gives you infinite options to find belonging.
Appreciate you for that video. Now let's get.
And we back on the west side of South Central with the Hoover RICO indictment. Now we only 5 months down the line from when the 6-0s got wrapped up in the RICO, and the feds stayed in the city and came over to Fig, taking down 11 people where they got some nasty allegations. And I gotta say, I gotta give a warning to y'all that's listening. It's gonna be some raw details with what the feds are alleging.
Here we go. Here we go.
Done. Now again, everything is just allegations. They innocent until proven guilty. But you already know how the feds is coming, man. They've done their homework and they really started it by piecing together everything about the Hoovers. Now, you know, we got some high-profile names on this case. Y'all know we got Lady Duck as the lead defendant on this case. And a lot of people ask, how's the only female on this case the lead defendant? For y'all that's in the city, y'all done heard her name before. Y'all may know her. You already know Lady Duck is not playing. She was already sitting down on the state case for 30 flocks and had a release date. And now the feds have put the squeeze on her, and they finna take everybody down to MDC. And just to give y'all an idea of what Lady Duck got going on in this indictment, the feds got somebody on tap trying to sell Lady Duck a female for a rack. And if Lady Duck didn't want her, they said they was gonna sell her organs across the border. Lady Duck replied, what she look like? So that's the type of role they allege Lady Duck is playing in this indictment. But not only is Lady Duck on here, y'all know we got P4K out the Baby Stone Gorillas from BPS. Everything they were saying about dude, the feds are alleging that him and pretty much everybody else was involved in some nasty activity on Fed. Now with the RICO, you know they saying that the Hoovers are an enterprise, a full organization that's running a monopoly on the west side of South Central. And as the feds put it, they are operating from Fortray to the one-way. But not only do they got the RICO charge, they got the sex trafficking of the minors by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation of a minor, sexual exploitation of a minor. They got drug trafficking, money laundering, and they got the firearm purchases stacked up against these dudes. But overall, it's 24 victims with 8 of.
Bruh, they're gonna make people be scared of that ism, bruh. You're gonna be scared to be peasy around up and down the street.
And what I've seen is ranging from ages 14 to 17. Some crazy work that's being alleged in this indictment. But this whole situation started off in February 2021 and ended last week, August 7th, 2025, where they unsealed this indictment and turned the heat up on everybody. Now, February 9th, 2021, Lady Duck was caught with 9 racks, some fake pills that had that fentanyl in it, and a scale for distribution. This is the starting point where everything started to go left. And this is when the feds started to fully build their case on the Hoovers as a whole. Not just the pimping, they pretty much got everything except for murders in this indictment surrounding the Hoovers. They've been studying their rivals. Of course, they well-known rivals and allies. Those facts are pretty well publicized in the streets and of course on the internet. But the feds are alleging that the Hoovers got about 1,800 active members right now.
believe
And
he
they
got
had 3 main
cracked down
strongholds
after my
in this
LA
operation.
trip.
2 of them being motels, one of them
Well,
the Stadium Inn, and the
bro,
other one
I'm
the
pretty
110
sure
motel,
they
with the
cracked
Stadium
it
Inn being on
down,
Vermont and the 110 motel being
but
on
it's
Florence.
like,
And the feds are also alleging that the house
it just slowed down, I'm thinking, but I'm pretty sure it's still up. It's just the one that's very ballsy that's still out there, bro.
Hotties off Fig, a
Crazy.
little female clothing store, was one of the key pieces in helping strengthen the enterprise of the Hoovers. Now, the feds said they were studying the Hoovers for a long time, and they seen even if the Hoovers is having internal conflict between one of their sets, they noticed that when it was time to put in work, all the sets was coming together for Hoover. And this is what they using to prove that they running a full-fledged enterprise. And they also dug deep into how people was getting put on and who exactly was getting walked on because of their family ties into the Hoovers. Now, this is being labeled as a complex case because it has more than 8 defendants. It got 11 total. Well, like we said, Lady Duck, P4K, Vermont Star, Tiny 3, Folo, J Money, Young Pope, and a few other dudes who are either associates or members of one of the Hoover sets in LA. And Vermont Star is the same dude that we spoke on in our Swan video, the dude that just robbed Day 3 homie of his chains. And Tiny 3 is King off Manchester, another rapper coming out the Hoovers.
Pulling heads, pulling skits, nigga better keep the tool on him. 10 bands for a headshot and we gon' stand up. My cousin Wooty whoopin' Wooty wham, nigga land on me. Fuck said trophy, nigga, long live the dead homie, man.
Now, a thing that we gotta stress, like we said, Young Pope, P4K, we gotta let y'all know, these charges and allegations we finna go through is nothing to play with, and they only
Free
pertain
duck.
to the people that we talking about in this indictment. Just because you see Young Pope
Hey,
name, this ain't got nothing to do with the Pope that we know that's doing this entertainment shit. With P4K, it's got nothing to do with the Baby Stone Gorillas. Like I said, these charges
Too
are
soon,
nothing
my
to play
G,
with,
too
so
soon.
let's not get silly with the internet shit. Just because you see some familiar names in this indictment. But what's being said is that all these defendants helped each other in one way or another in this human trafficking ring, whether it was with the minors or the adults. Everybody played a hand in keeping the grip on the operation. And everybody knows Fig, and we know what hood is on Fig. It said that to operate on Fig, you have to be in good standing with the Hoovers. And they also alleged that some people was paying taxes to play ball on Fig with some of the feet out there. But overall, that fear factor is what the feds are using to glue the Hoovers to a whole enterprise, resulting in this RICO. And the key thing that y'all gotta realize is the same shit every time. Instagram. Not only are these dudes using these music videos, but they using Instagram to prove the allegations in these indictments. The guns and the drugs are being shown on Instagram, shown in the music videos, and along with the weapon seizures and the seizure of the drugs, the feds are saying that the Hoovers are using this and keeping drugs and weapons around to protect their assets in these 2 motels and the clothing store. And they said it was also using the clothing store and the motels as stash spots for guns and drugs. And even though dudes like P4K is not
That's hella
a Hoover,
nuts.
they were still involving themselves in Hoover politics and in the Hoover enterprise. BPS is not mentioned once other than as an ally of Hoover in this indictment. But overall, the feds are alleging 441 overt acts that they using against all 11 of these defendants. So overt acts are going to be specific crimes and elements that the feds use as probable cause to set forth the indictment. And again, there's 441 different acts or crimes that were committed. Now, the feds start off by saying most of these defendants was branding their names, tattooing their names on these victims, some adults and some minors, with Lady Duck having her name on 4 people, Hands having his name on at least 2 people. Folo, aka Figure Foe, also had his name on at least 3 people. Info had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her face. And Vermont Star had his name tatted on a 17-year-old girl on her neck. Now with Lady Duck, the feds say she is a hood trophy. They got this in the indictment, say she's one of the lifelines of the set. And they got J Money on the conversation telling somebody that Lady Duck has been holding the set down money-wise for a long time. And it was time for him to start increasing his profits in the streets for the hood. So situations like these is why Lady Duck is seen as the lead defendant in this case. Like I said, she was already down
this
for
BB
30 blocks
made it up
in
there,
3
though,
different
bro.
counties and was in custody since July of last year. But they got her on tape beating multiple females, and there was that one tape that came out in the store where she was seen beating that pregnant female, where she alleged that that female was dissing the Hoovers.
All right, what, bitch? I hope you got the same dress on, bitch. What? Fuck wrong with you, bitch, when you dissing the set, bitch. On the bed, bitch. ACG, this bitch on the set. Say sorry, bitch. Bitch, say sorry, bitch, for dissing the set.
But right before she went down for them flocks, April 26, 2024, she's seen at that Stadium Inn with a 14-year-old girl. Now, her and Jay Money both had hands in lacing this 14-year-old girl up, but she was the main person in dealing with this little girl. And the crazy part is, dudes was actually out here dealing with little girls. At one point, they said this girl had $200 at 2 a.m. And by 4 p.m. the next day, she had $1,500, bringing it straight to Lady Duck. And it got so crazy where the little girl's family ended up finding her at Stadium Inn, and Lady Duck told one of her homies that she's starting to look like a child predator out here dealing with this little girl. Now, like I said, Jay Money was with her, and all these dudes was around this situation with a 14-year-old girl outside. But like I said, Lady Duck, extremely active in this section. When they needed burners, they was calling Lady Duck. She was caught on a phone call with an undercover space circulating, and she replied that Hoover won his head. And one of the main people she was dealing with was P4K. Now, you know, P4K to the internet, he made a cold turn to the pimping. As soon as the rapping started to slow down, everybody saw it. The Baby Stones stopped producing music at the rate that they was producing it at, and P4K really took on this whole pimping moniker. And the feds started to use his rapping with glorifying the pimping and the gangbanging to build this case against him. But this dude was out here leveraging his rapping career, telling females that they could go on tour with him if they hit the blade for him. But on January 1st, 2023, it's like this nigga made the New Year's resolution to get pimping because the feds got him posting an ad for females to apply to his pimping and saying all applicants must be obedient. Again, all of this done on social media, Instagram. Now, after that ad in January 2023, July 2023, P4K with a 16-year-old female. And not only was he trafficking her, the feds allege that he was also having an intimate relationship with this 16-year-old girl as well in 2023. And like I said, he was seen with many Hoovers, but he was in deep communication.
Bruh, if there's some paperwork, he gonna be running fades in jail, bro.
With Lady Duck.
Fades
at one
for
point
days,
in the audio
man.
recording in the Instagram message, P4K stated to Lady Duck that he pimps minors over the age of 16 and under the age of 18. He admitted it out of his own mouth in his own audio recording, allegedly. So all the bad shit people were saying about P4K, you know, when you had them charges, that's one thing. But now when you get this paperwork, it's a whole nother ball.
Hey, shout out to B Brazy, man. He was the one that said this dude right here, he no good. Like, he's been saying it for a while. Nobody really was believing it until this came out.
Ball
man.
game when you got the discovery on somebody. It's not looking good for this dude, and it's not looking good for any of these defendants. They all
And
look
it's
like
called
the bad
Figaro
people.
Facts.
And we've seen a clip of Smack from back on Fig, speaking about the child trafficking on Fig.
What is we gonna do about the prostitution out there and these kids walking Figueroa?
So-
Your kids gotta go to school and see this.
So let me just tell you, that's the issue that when we started in the 90s, we were dealing with as well. The difference is that the women, there were women that were on the streets then. Now they're girls that are on the street.
Babies.
Almost across the board, the girls are from the foster care system.
And you know, some people look at it in a way as if Smack was telling on the Hoovers, anything like that. My thing is, these is the bad people. Everybody in this case dealing with minors is bad. There's no way around it, no way to cut it. I feel like he spoke on what he had to speak on, not necessarily implementing any of his homies, but shining the light on these members dealing with little kids. So Lady Duck, after she had that 14-year-old girl, May 2024, they got her on a phone call with Info talking about the hood is hot right now, and he's specifically hot, and that they come into the hood to pick up these minors off the blade. And everything was well known and publicized between these members from Hoop. Now with P4K, what we all seen was when he was beating on that chick on the blade. We had it in our blood report card video, him whooping on the chick from the blade. That whole situation, the backstory of that is crazy. So info, again, Naziz Harris, a flagrant offender in this case. He had a 17-year-old girl earlier this year in January 2025 working for him. P4K ended up knocking the 17-year-old girl and taking her back to Harris, and both of them made the female choose. The female ended up choosing P4K, and Info basically asked P4K if he can punch on the female, the 17-year-old girl, as an exit fee. P4K allowed him to punch on the girl and took the female to Fig. Now, of course, shortly after she hit Fig, she went back to Info and left P4K and got back down on the blade for Info. P4K ends up pulling back up on her, and that's where we see him beating on that female on the blade. That was a little girl. And of course, the feds seen that, and they also are alleging that that video was a scare tactic that P4K intentionally put on the internet to show his other females that they need to be obedient to his pimping.
Oh shit.
Hey, don't put me on no camera. Nigga, I'm coming hard about mine.
Yeah. They just put up.
I'm hard about my bitch, nigga. Play with my bitch again, nigga. My bad.
Now, the feds allege that all these dudes was targeting females that was, of course, in foster care, runaways, and females that just grew up around the blade and somewhat close to the lifestyle. And of course, they know they was dealing with minors, so they was providing fake IDs, and some kidnapping was involved. Now, like I said with Info, Naziz Harris,
crazy.
He was told multiple times by his homies that dealing with minors was dangerous. But again, not only was he trafficking these females, he's also beating on them. He was going around the hood telling people how the minors is snitching on him about him pistol whipping them. But he had another 17-year-old girl around that same time where P4K had knocked him for the other minor. And the feds are alleging that he was producing explicit content with this little girl, along with beating on her and getting her hooked on pills. And what blew this dude up, he take this little girl across country, end up getting stopped, and the folks find this pistol. He tells this 17-year-old girl to take the charge for him. And of course, she snitches on him in Nebraska. Nebraska put out the human trafficking of a minor charge on him, and he goes down in March 2025. And after that, they still have him pimping over the jail phone to his feet back in California. But somebody he was in heavy communication with was Young Poke. Now, Young Poke is probably the worst person in this indictment in terms of allegations. Young Poke, real name Keandre Young. He started off with the 15-year-old girl, and then the feds allege that he starts having an intimate relationship with the 15-year-old girl, and then they uncover, again, explicit content between Young Poke and this little girl. Multiple pieces of content though. Then he goes ahead and secures a 17-year-old girl and whoops her feet in front of everybody.
What?
And this is when his other little females, his adult females, are approaching him about dealing with minors. And he goes on to berate them about how the minors are bringing in more paper than them. And then after all of that, he gets another 15-year-old girl. And this dude had the nerve to tell Info that dealing with minors was dangerous. And at one point, he threatened a 17-year-old girl with Lady Poke, saying he was going to have Lady Poke pull up and put them hands on her. But when the female tried to leave him, he goes on, ends up beating the girl and holding her hostage for 7 days straight. And the feds are alleging that he RAPE'd the chick as well, man. All bad dealing with these minors. And this is another reason why they say the gang banging and the pimping don't mix, man. These niggas went wild. They was doing too much. At one point, Info was in communication with Young Poke about one of his girls. The 17-year-old girl was saying that her head was hurt. Info asked her if she wanted to go to the hospital. She said no, because I'm not going to be able to explain these bruises on my face. Mind you, this is a kid. Now, Young Poke also had another 16-year-old girl with him, and when the feds caught up to him, he had a screenshot of Department of Child Services trying to get in contact with her because he had gaffled her up. And they further glued him to the Enterprise when he recorded and posted when the Hoovers caught them dudes from Main Street slipping, and they had posted the video dissing the Main Streets and whooping on some shit. Now with Folo, aka Figure 4, he was on some whole other shit. Of course, the feds are alleging that they was in multiple states. Of course, Vegas is one of them, but they was at least operating in 9 different states. Folo was out here training his females to have them sticky fingers. And everybody sees it that this situation happened because all these females is talking. The feds have made contact with all 24 of these victims clearly, and they all snitching. And when you putting these females in these bad positions, having them yanking the clients, they running and scared for their life. You having them taking gun charges, they gon' tell on your ass. But it said Figure 4 sent his chick to steal a Rolex, and when she came back, he punched her in the back of the head. Like I said, he was putting her in the line of fire, putting himself in the line of fire. And they alleged that he ripped her hair out, she pointed a gun at him, and he ended up breaking the female nose. Now, right before Lady Duck went down in 2024, she already knew that the feds was on them. I don't know if it was because of the flocking, but she made multiple statements that spots were under investigation, including hers on 88. The people that rolled up there and they noticed somebody throwing a gun out of her house. They had a lot of people meeting up and a lot of the females on 88th as well. But I believe it's because they was making the spot hot. Dudes like J Money. The feds also alleged he was branding females with tatting his name on their face. But after the chick got his name tatted on the face, he ends up hitting the bitch with the car and told her no matter where she go, he gonna groove her ass. They was truly gorilla pimping out here, man, squeezing these females and these minors for everything they had. And then Matthew Brooks, Buddha, aka Vermont Star, the bad people. He also had himself a 17-year-old little girl on the blade, and he was beating on her. The feds got him allegedly stuffing the chick in the trunk and driving with her from Fig all the way to Riverside. And when they got to Riverside, he beat on her some more. Now, the 17-year-old female ended up getting pregnant by Vermont Star, telling him she got pregnant, and he kicked her in the stomach to where she started to bleed out of a specific place of her body. Y'all know what I'm saying. And then he proceeded to stab her in the leg with a pair of scissors. 17-year-old girl. Now, after this, he ends up shooting at the female, almost hitting her in the face, and he beat her again, chipping her tooth and knocking her braces loose. Now, on top of this, like I said, they was already patrolling Fig. I said people have to be sanctioned to play ball on Fig. He caught somebody that wasn't sanctioned with Info and Tiny 3. They robbed this dude, stole his car, and they took it to a chop shop and chopped it up. So like I said, the pimping and the gangbanging, they doing both. It really blew everything up, along with, of course, doing the nasty work, dealing with minors. Now, Tiny 3, like I said, he was with Gray on that move, but Tiny 3 was also tripping. T-John Gray, he was looking for some new feet, ended up pulling up
Gosh,
another
damn.
17-year-old girl fresh out of school at the bus stop. Jumps out on this female, pours some motor oil on her, and his homie come up and rob the chick for the gold chain. Again, a whole lot of playing with these minors brought them some unwanted attention. Tiny 3 also drove to San Bernardino's Blade and tried to kidnap 2 females. It said they had them in the car, but some way the females had got loose. And they had Tommy Guns March of this year, right when that 6-0 indictment was popping off. He's on a jail call, locked up in LA County, pimping the females over the phone. This is how they built this whole situation on the Hoovers, man. They was doing a whole lot, and then on top of that, they hit them with the money laundering, playing with the paper on Apple Pay and Cash App, advertising the drug sales on social media, also talking about gun deals with they females. The females is snitching. Now they got the same guns that they said they was buying in the music videos, and recording themselves beating on the females and posting it to social media. Social media is one of the main things that glued this indictment together on the Hoovers, man. Of course, like I said, 24 victims, 8 minors, a bunch of talking and telling, but you giving the people so much glue on Instagram. And y'all know with charges like these, the government has put a notice of requested detention, and for each one of these defendants, they got multiple reasons why they probably not gonna make bond. Number one, they requiring all the defendants to be present at their appearance, which is a no-brainer, but they also stating that there's a risk of safety for other people in the community. Those are the main two reasons for pretrial detention on all 11 defendants. The next one is gonna give y'all some insight as to what it's looking like in terms of time being faced. The presumptions applicable to pretrial detention is everybody's facing an offense with 10 years or greater maximum penalty and committing a crime involving a minor. They're also stating that everybody's at risk of fleeing. You know, these are heavy charges. It's not looking good on this indictment, but that's the cost to playing with these little kids out here, man. Now we know the Hoovers right now, they were starting to get a buzz, man. They had some motion at No Jumper. They formed a little rap group, but then everything went tragic on A-Tray Hood Day. We're not going to speak about that. And now this comes out about the Hoovers, man. As we see, the feds are still in the city. They not going nowhere. Y'all got to tighten it up with the social media and doing too much in the street.
He thought I was going to yell with him.
Yeah,
This the nigga he mentioned. What that paperwork say? This the nigga he mentioning.
Hey, look, man, look, I ain't gonna need. I'm gonna let you go ahead and read it.
He playing with kids. He playing with kids in West Coast game where it's posted, and we missing out.
Okay, but let's be real.
We missing out.
I've heard numerous allegations about Stockton rappers trafficking underage girls.
He's not from Stockton. He's from Oakland.
I know, but I'm just saying. Then this RICO comes out about whoever, and that's one of the main allegations is that they're trafficking underage girls. And I've definitely heard about it. Look at Tania's kid. This is happening. It's out there.
Yes.
All I'm saying is, like, is this basically totally normalized in the pimp world?
No.
Hell no. For sure. So there's a big chunk of people who think that that's fucked up and wrong.
For sure.
There's absolutely niggas out there doing it, but I ain't gonna lie. Me personally,
Look, that shit normalized because there's too many cases. You talking to a that's been in the feds, been in the state. I've seen too many, whether they gangbangers or from whatever state, all these getting out here trying to pimp. These ain't playing the game how it's supposed to go. They whooping ass. They guerrilla pimps. Like it's by some of these by force, whether it's by force or you putting a baby, like whatever the case may be. Like it's a contact sport for these. They not on the ism, you know what I'm saying, mouthpiece, none of that. Like a lot of these dealt with kids. I'm not gonna put it on everybody, but that have been normalized because that's what's going on. It's just, but it's like you can't. I mean, what you gonna do? Police another pimping, but yeah, these pimps is out here with underage people. And some dudes do get caught up and get the bad rap. Some of these do be lying. You know what I'm saying? Little girls do be lying, acting like they older than what they is. And some of these be knowing they be predators. It is what it is.
I think the streets in general is becoming watered down because be snitches in their hood. It be all type of shit going on and people slide shit under the rug. So I think that also went the same with the pimping world, slide shit under the rug because the streets is cooked as a whole. But I ain't gonna act like I ain't been around at 3 a.m. in circles where it's like this gotta get off this blade because we know he got babies. So I'm not just gonna act like when find out that it just be like, oh, we don't go. Because I didn't seen it with my own eyes get kicked up off that to send they to get the kids off. I didn't see that this shit with my own eyes and get kicked off the track for having children. So yeah, a lot of people is doing weird shit, but it's also a lot of people that's policing it within their own community. You know what I'm saying? So where it's like, nah, y'all gotta get the from over here because y'all it up. That's weird. Y'all gotta get that from up over here. So it's not just everybody doing this shit with kids. I ain't never, ever, ever, ever even accidentally fuck with
this
no
is one
kids.
thing that I want to make clear is that there are people that we all know who are associated with this RICO that we're talking about, P4K in particular. I'm used to it at this point that the indictment comes out. It's a bunch of the worst you ever heard in your entire life. You can't help but feel completely disgusted when you read it. And then once people end up going to trial or accepting plea deals or whatever, you realize that, it would be wrong to cast some of these charges or judgments about the entire group of people. There's also a chance that they're just actually not guilty of some of this stuff. So I'm not directly casting judgment on any of these people. I haven't seen enough information in order to do that yet. But based on what we're seeing in this, like when I was seeing the press conference and she was talking about how like all of these girls are basically coming out of the orphanage system, which
that's crazy.
Just sounds
So
horrific.
dark,
But also I'm like prepared for that to not necessarily pan out when this all comes to.
But this is also separate from DC because he went to jail.
Okay, but
DC Baby Draco went to jail and he bit the ear off. I read the paperwork. He bit the ear off and then he burnt the baby pictures that he had with his baby mama. He bit her ear off.
Maybe
and he burnt their baby pictures. He was on some Tyson. And then it also say in the paperwork that he pressured the minor victim not to come to court to testify on him. I don't know why we ain't supposed to
Witness intimidation.
Yeah, witness intimidation and all of that shit. And he got multiple pimping and minor charges. You feel me? And this was before that RICO. He been known for that. That's why he down here.
But I mean, like I have multiple homies who like homegirls who are social workers and have told me that exact same thing, that literally like pimps are snatching chicks or young late girls up from
the foster care system and things like that, and like
Yeah.
That's
fast
crazy.
tracking them to the blade.
They got like the
I ain't never
directory or
had no
something.
foster kids.
And you would also, like what Sus said though, makes sense. And this is kind of the point I was trying to make the other day when we were talking about it, is that beyond the moral aspect of it, you would think it would make the blade way hotter to have a bunch
It
of,
sure does.
like, yeah, that's like when the
Niggas
agencies
don't
start
want that shit
intervening.
over there,
like,
bro. Don't want it. But I'm not gonna act like a lot of you right, because I didn't personally, and I'm so glad that you said that, I didn't personally stop kicking it with because I seen this man in San Diego with babies. 3.
So babies is just
To me,
slang for underage girls.
Yeah, I seen him out here with babies, bro.
I
And
just
No,
I
because I
seen
was
him
confusing me when he kept saying
I'm like,
baby.
you're not actually talking about
Because you
babies.
got me thinking like, I'm like, nah.
Dude with like a
Because them is babies, bro.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
gang.
yeah,
Nigga, In 5 years, she's 14. Them is
Right.
babies.
20-year-olds are babies to me, to be
Them
honest.
is babies. In my eye. I'm 27, bro. A 14-year-old is a baby. You know what I'm saying? So was out there with 3 babies. I had a problem with it, nigga. The bitches tried to get them off the blade, all kind of shit. Everybody had a problem with it, allegedly. You feel me? So boom, I see him maybe a year later up in a different state out here in Hollywood with some that I fuck with, and I was like, I seen this with babies, gang. Like y'all gotta like, I don't know about y'all, but I'm finna maneuver. This after 7-Eleven, kicking it with this. I'm like, I'm finna get on. Like this nigga be having kids and shit. Niggas be like, yeah, bro, we heard you. Y'all, I seen it. I'm not kicking it with. So it absolutely do get swept under the rug with a lot of.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure. And I ain't gonna like this not across the board. And I ain't just saying that that's what it is. It's a mixture of everything. You feel me? Like this life. So it's a mixture of everything. You feel me? But like these dudes do, just because they grown, like man, dudes do be messing with underage girls. Like let's call it is what it is. You can get mad, and if you mad, obviously you one of the ones that participate in it. You got somebody that participate in it. It just is what it is. I've been around these dudes. You feel me? I don't have to judge paperwork. I don't have to read paperwork with sex trafficking and then people getting starved, getting locked in rooms, and you know what I'm saying? And some people be fast and thrust themselves into that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't just all because they underage that they being tricked. Some people be grown and fast and thrust themselves into it, and it don't matter whichever way you slice
But it's
it.
up to you.
Once you understand somebody's underage and you deal with them like you're a piece of shit,
You are
yeah,
bad.
it's
still
fully- I don't give a fuck
predatory
if
at the
she
end of
come with
Yeah.
10,000 hot
sure.
ready. I'm cool on that. You are a baby. I don't want no parts of that. I'm good. You are ready to go down. You finna go under the jail. I just can't do it, bro. I got 2 girls. We're not playing like that.
Yeah, for
Babies
sure.
is completely off.
Up,
bro.
and I feel like the underlying political reason for doing all this right now is that the World Cup is coming
Yeah,
here, the
absolutely.
Olympics are coming here soon after
Absolutely.
that, you know, because I mean, when Ant said, when you asked, is it normalized? I said, hell no, but hearing Ant talk about it, to be real, I know people who have gone through this story, like, you know, 16-year-old with the pimp's name on her face type of thing, and that's just the way she's getting it
Hey,
now.
man.
And like, you could, she
Tapping
might
on
tell
the
you it's
hood.
my decision, I'm living this lifestyle,
Like girls
whatever
you
it
went to
may
high
be.
school with who straight up just like
Yeah.
at some point were just doing that.
Just for real, just like,
that's
we
crazy.
got into the game,
Look, think about it from this. Think about it from this standpoint. You got, I don't know, where you was in high school on the East Coast.
In Nashville, New Hampshire.
So listen,
No,
no. I'm not talking about.
Nah, we ain't trying to hear that. Check this out, bruh. This one.
Those hoes, man, you know, we going crazy on L's. You know, I'm back at it on 9th Street. I'm gonna say what it is. Hey, man, I ain't starting nothing. I don't want no problems. You know, I'm always say that. And that's my motto. I be serious when I say that. It's not a game right there. I don't want no problems and I ain't starting nothing.
That was,
Please.
they was,
I
man.
need to stop saying that shit too.
Adam and them
Oh, yeah.
low-key
But look,
boring as hell.
Please, it's like
This dude that's
everybody hitting me up
that's
showing
in
me
jail.
stuff. I'm like, dang, like it seemed like they
That be
got me,
spitting
like,
facts, figurative
sorry, like,
facts.
look. I'm like, man, I don't want to see none of that, man. And I'm gonna say like this. All I said on my other video, like I'm always say, is this: when you get blasted on the news for doing stuff that's bad, you already look bad on the hood. You already got like a jacket on you. When somebody
Check it. He's talking about the folks that was indicted to go inside on Fig. He's talking about them folks going to jail right now.
let me see your paperwork, and they read it and they say that type of stuff on there. You know what I'm saying? You can get well, it goes bad. All I was saying was for anybody. I ain't talking about for nobody. You know what I'm saying? Don't go them type of routes with the whole coming to jail for crazy stuff like that, man. Don't do that. One thing you doing it the right way, but the wrong way is a no-go. And we all know the wrong way. The wrong way is a no-go. I'm not worried about none of that shit. The right way is the right way when certain stuff is happening. The wrong way is when you start messing with minors on L's. Period. And anybody around you that everybody around you bad that know you was doing it, that ran into you while you got them peoples with you on the dead homies. Right, gang? Dead homies. And I'm saying for anybody This ain't no discrimination, no bias thing. I ain't talking about one person.
Appreciate
I'm
you for
on
being
I'm
here,
on
man. If you
speaking
haven't
now.
already, drop a like.
It's a whole
comment, subscribe.
situations be going on. And on
Appreciate you,
DLB, I already been on this type tip. And I've been saying it like, man, if people out there doing that, why we all grown and all got these kids and all this, man, bad people, especially if you're around good people's own lanes. And just like in the feds, it's probably good people's and bad people's, the good side and bad side. I don't know if it's I don't know if just because you're in the feds, you program with, I don't think no ours is programming with no regular people. It's programming with no people with them jackets. So I would think the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Imagine you run into P's uncles. You know what I'm talking about?
Peace. What's up,
it's sad to
Peace?
say because we all got babies that age on the hood. And on DLB 109th Street, now I'm thinking about it, we got a baby that age on lanes. It'll go bad for you. I'm thinking about that now. You whoever owns shit like that out there on the streets is bad peoples. If you're watching this, you know that you doing that bad people shit, man. You bad peoples. I'm not worried about
bad
nobody
peoples,
talking
man.
about DLB, and then it's like people is that shit called? People is like really pumping that shit up like it's good. It's a good thing to do. You know your bro pimping on bad. You know what I'm saying? You know your bro doing something that he ain't supposed to be doing with some. Come on, gang. That ain't never robbers. When you tap in on the who's who's, I'm dead homies. I'm always tell you the real. I'm never gonna sugarcoat it just because it's the people's who wah. No, on lanes. It's about LA. This is LA edition in plenty more on lanes, but it's about LA and the bad people's in it. On DLB 109th Street, that's all I'm gonna say. When I get on here, I pop it, I blow it down, I talk crazy, I look like this. People was talking about I look like I'm getting old, but now I'm back eating fresh out the hole, doing my thuggy, about to get brand new kicks and all that. I already got some nookies, L's, but you know what's going on. My brother gotta make this they out there still. You niggas out there still, I gotta make this motherfucking shredded beef in these chips, dead homies. Look, it's crazy because while we right here trying to see what's going on, and all I can do is see it on lanes, and I'm seeing charges red and all that. Dead homies, you bad. I'm seeing people getting homies, you bad. I'm seeing people getting, man, I'm not worried about nobody saying, but I'm saying on lanes, hopefully he go to the feds and however they program going, because if people go to the county with that on lanes, you getting blitzed. You getting blitzed for sure. When you tapping on the who's on lanes, I'm always give it to you raw and uncut. DLB 109th Street is about my life. Put last minute. It's crazy because you don't kick people while they're down. Don't kick people while they're down. I'm about to stop eating. When I blow it down, I get hungry. What's that no more?
Blow it down, I get hungry.
Hey, man. If you think P4 and them is right, DLB, you better say something. Tap in. I'm on West Side Lanes. I'm a message back. I'm a text right. I'm gonna get right back. I got my alert on. Hit the whatever that bell. Hit the bell on lanes. Everybody start hitting the bell though. Because when you hit the bell, give you the alerts. So when I'm getting on your popping it, bop. On lanes, you gotta hit the bell. I'm just hearing about that. I've been going crazy for a minute. You know I'm gonna be tripping, but now. For the people, all I know is we in LA with it, on lanes. When they're LA with it, tight people, when we tick, people's is bad people's like that. The people that's saying, let him go to court first and figure out, you right. He has his due process in court. But right now, to some real game and some real ticking, not no favoritism, you ain't too Gucci. That's like me going to jail for 10 hours on lanes. I just go to jail for 10 hours and I'm in a module. You think they gonna let me keep me in a module? Then I got 10 hours on the news with kids. I ain't get found guilty yet. You think you
Not the
think
bill.
they gonna be,
He
it's
calls
good?
it because he don't know
Stop
it's
it.
called
Stop playing with it.
notifications.
Dead homies.
You know.
Stop playing favoritism. We don't do
I
that
mean,
this way.
he's in
Ain't no
jail,
bias
bro. He
thing
don't know
going on. I
nothing
don't want no
about this
violence to nobody.
stuff.
On 10 hours, on lanes. I just go to jail for 10 hours. And I'm in the module. You think they gonna let me keep me in the module? And I got 10 hours on the news with kids. I ain't get found guilty yet. You think you think they gonna be? It's good. Stop it. Stop playing with it. Dead homies. Stop playing favoritism. We don't do that this way. Ain't no bias thing going on. I don't want no problems with nobody. On ills. I just say bad peoples, and you can't never get mad at me when I start putting out bad peoples. So I'm always do it, gang. Tapping on the who's when you tap in, though.
Tap in on the who's
Ring the bell
though.
one time. You say, I'm
Oh,
hearing about the bell. I gotta say do it up on ills. Do it up.
At least he's dropping cunt.
Mess with kids.
Bruh.
That's all I'm gonna say.
I think he's one of
I'm
the
nice to you.
few.
I'm not
I
gonna say
think
nothing else.
he might have been the
I'm not gonna
first
disrespect nobody. I don't
person
want nobody
in
to be like,
jail
heard
that
about
got
this. You know what I'm
monetized.
saying?
I don't know. I
Don't
could be
mess with
wrong.
me at all. On Main Street. When you tap in on the who's and give it to you raw and uncut, man. We in the line with it. Yeah, homies, these niggas be mad, they be hate. And I'm gonna say what it is. It's for anybody. This ain't for one person, 2 persons, 3 persons. It's for everybody. Blow it down. On L's.
Oh,
And
hell
then-
no.
And I'm on this because
Hey, he be
somebody
smoking
tap in
though.
on me and say,
He be
man,
blazing.
everybody do that. No. You're not gonna convince me that all bees is do that. Mess with minors. No.
No.
On lanes. You know,
They're
you're
not
allowed
known.
to-
They're
you're
not
allowed to
known
say
for
that.
that.
You sound like a predator. I'm dead homies.
Let's see what
That's
else
way
are they
too
gonna
young.
recommend me
We
over
messing
here.
up that way.
Nina boy.
14 is no excuses for that type shit. It's none at all.
Poetra.
All that, you know what I'm saying? We don't do that. Between
Oh, who's this guy? This guy's live right now.
Tapping on the who's, I'm saying, man, I don't care what you talking about. They DM me saying, man, hey, man, this is that. I'm saying this. I get on here with my people's pop it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Tapping on the who's, I'm gonna tell you what it is. And relevant.
Tap in on the who's, man. Hold up. Let's see. That's why I guess it matters to have a good thumbnail, bruh.
Why do American men travel overseas to find a wife, but men from overseas don't travel to America to find a wife?
Woo! Great question, baby.
Because women know their worth over here, more exposed to resources.
Women are in tune to their body. They're not in tune with running a household. They're in tune to social media. They're not in tune with the needs of their significant other or their kids. That, you know, I'm just gonna be honest.
I feel like I can smell her breath.
Women really is like men. It's
Yeah.
all about me, and I don't
Come
know
on.
if it comes from
Bullshit.
the f***ed up experience that they've had.
Brainwashing.
Or, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, wait, let me just, wait. Okay. Wait, can I just finish one more thing, okay?
Every so often on this channel, we highlight the men that say, I'm done with the West. I'm out of here. Hey, pack up, cross the borders, and build a separate life overseas. Now, we refer to these men as passport bros, but that term, that brand of a passport bro, if you ask an average person on the street, what does that mean? If they are familiar with it, you're going to get a bevy of different interpretations. But the fact is that some become passport bros while single to have fun, but there's others that become passport bros because they're looking for a significant other abroad. to build a
Passport
family
bros, brother.
under the common understanding that those women respect
More
traditional
knowledge.
values, traditional masculinity, more than the women in the West. Which is why I find it so interesting to not only understand the mindset
Hey,
of
what
these
time you
women that
going
are
to
in
bed,
other
brother,
places,
man?
but then also understand the mindset of the women in Western modernity that don't want these men to venture off to other places. Shout out to It's Complicated. He did a Passport Bros interview on the streets of Vegas. Let's watch.
What do you think of women in other cultures and how they treat their men?
Well, I think it's different. For example, where I come from in Europe, it's more like old school than the modern way of dating.
I think women in other cultures, I just think that they are a little bit more submissive than the women in America.
Do you think they treat their men better because they're forced to or because they want to?
I think because they're forced to. They get abused.
Wait, what?
And like they can't even wear their real hair. They have to cover their hairs up
Say
and stuff like that.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves or do you think they're happy?
I think a mixture
Appreciate
of
you,
both.
G. Hold on, ma'am. Just because a woman is submissive, agreeable, chooses to bring a man peace,
Stay that ass
doesn't
too late
mean
to
that
quit
they're
whatever it
being
is you
oppressed
doing,
or that
man.
they're being abused. Now, if you want to utilize the Middle East as your example, then so be it. But if you travel a little bit further east than that, you're going to find households of men and women that have clear roles and clear values within those roles and how to contribute their family to a functioning society.
Yeah, I'm still gonna be waiting on my email for them to
but
give me
because
back,
it's a
get back
different
on
culture,
me on the email.
they kind of want
They
to.
still haven't
The
got back
culture is
to me, though.
family oriented, so they want to.
Do you think those women are ignorant slaves or are they happy?
No, I think they're happy, definitely.
What's the difference between Western women philosophy versus Eastern women philosophy?
Western women philosophy is more the feminine
Oh,
side
damn,
and independence,
okay.
whereas the Eastern
Okay.
side is more
Do your
on
thing, man.
religious values, I guess.
Western women philosophy is more self-centered. I think
whooping on
Eastern
the-
women is kind of family oriented, so they don't just think about themselves; they think about the family, they think
Whoever
about
you
other
going
stuff other
against
than
on,
themselves.
The difference is Western women feel like they can do whatever they want. They don't care about what a man says, and Eastern they feel like they have to do what a man says.
Which country treats their women best?
I would say I don't think anywhere.
Oh,
treats
hell
their
yeah,
women
most
best. Let's
definitely,
be
bro.
real. Not America.
I'll
not,
let you know,
and
bro.
Nowhere,
Got it.
honestly.
I'll let you know if they
Unbelievable
hit me
question,
up.
because if you believe that you're not treated well here,
'Cause
then
I don't
give
know, I
me an
hope they
example of
do.
where you were treated well
Shoot,
anyway.
'cause I hit 'em
What's
up
that you
today,
say?
they didn't-
Nowhere
they
on
said, nah,
God's
they'll
green
call me,
earth
so
are
I
you
guess I
treated
gotta
well
wait for
by and
them.
large and in mass. It
Hey,
sounds
but
as if
it looks
you're
like
so
nah.
clouded or deluded with your victimhood
But I'll
mentality
let you
that
know
you can't see the
beforehand,
forest
though.
beyond
Let
the
me know
trees,
when
man.
you're,
You live in a society
when
that
you
allows
would
you
be
to
on
do
the way,
literally
so I
whatever the
know
hell
what
that you
time.
want. You're not even obligated to defend that same country or society. And if something happens, let's say you do something illegal, if you got caught,
So then
not
if they
only
do
are you
call
less
me or
likely
something,
to
I'll
get
just let you
convicted of that
know.
crime than a man, but then also, if convicted, your jail sentence will be less than that of a man, statistically speaking. It gets so easy at a point to just debunk some of these people's thoughts, feelings, and ideologies, but when you really dress it down, you begin to understand the pure and utter entitlement.
Thing is, who's?
Hey, stand. Come outside. He's cool. Come outside, nigga. Come on, nigga. Come outside. You okay, right? Hey, I got money in his pocket. Easy. Come on.
Young niggas from the pack, you don't want to play around. You try to show it, do. Man down, I'm a nigga over here. You in a nigga in your town. I need 30 in the Glock. You ain't try to come around.
LAPD out here investigating. We saw them laying evidence markers earlier. They are looking for two suspects here who apparently shot this woman.
Police arrived. They found a large crowd gathered at the scene. One person was dead. At least 2 others were wounded. Police say some of the people who were shot had left the area and driven themselves to the hospital.
It itself took place behind me in this parking lot at a pop-up taco stand, a regular thing here on the weekend.
Right say anything?
Nope.
Come on, straight out. You know what's up.
They didn't claim no shit. I
This
don't know
car
who it
drive
was.
by earlier?
Nope.
Anybody throwing any signs?
The six-pack East Coast Crips, they're in the lines of 4 Crips in Los Angeles, with one of the most deadly reputations in the city. And they're known for numerous violent acts, including daily shootouts, drive-bys, and multiple set-up murders. Having some of the oldest Crips sets in Los Angeles, they have a deep history that stretches all the way back to the 1970s, with more than a few prominent members attached to this gang. So they definitely have a story to tell. Yeah. All right. Welcome to Cali's Most Dangerous. Let's get into it.
LAPD out here investigating. We saw them laying evidence markers earlier. They are looking for two suspects here who apparently shot this woman dead.
On May 29th of 2007, at approximately 8 p.m., engaged to be married couple Karina Mitchell and Manuel Figueroa and their kids 11-year-old Brianna and the couple's 5-year-old son Jacob drove to 67th Street in Main in Los Angeles to get dinner at a neighborhood taco truck. The couple, they parked their Honda in a well-lit parking lot next to the taco truck, ordered their food, and waited with around 10 other people. Michelle was wearing her diamond engagement ring and a gold necklace and carrying a designer purse, which wouldn't have been an issue had the couple been eating in Brentwood or Beverly Hills. But they were eating in one of the most deadly areas in Los Angeles and in the territory of the 6'6" East Coast Crips, who fall under the Six-Pack Alliance. And unfortunately, her jewelry and expensive attire made her a target in this area. While the children ate their meals in the backseat of the car, Figueroa waited for his and Michael's food at the truck while
Yeah.
Michael walked back to the car with his family's drinks. Once at the car, she placed the drink.
That's one thing about going to LA, bro. Don't be going out there with jewelry, man. And if you have jewelry, tuck it or put it away before you go to a store or something, man. There's always somebody looking for an easy lick.
Drinks on top of the car and reached into her purse. Sadly, Brianna and Figueroa then heard a gunshot, followed by them seeing Michelle fall to the ground. After that, Figueroa, he seen well-known Six-Pack East Coast Crip member Jason Martin running from between the Honda and another car with a gun in his hand. He then heard 2 more gunshots as Martin ran towards 62nd Street. Figueroa then hurried to the car, where the children were screaming, and he found Michelle on the ground, now responsive and bleeding from a gunshot wound to her head. Meanwhile, Carlos Gomez was visiting his friend Nelson Ramos at an apartment building located on 62nd Street in Maine. Just before the shooting, the two, they were standing on Ramos' narrow balcony. And while hanging out, both Gomez and Ramos, they saw Martin walking out of the alley into the parking lot where the taco truck was located. Because Ramos' daughter was crying, the two men walked back inside their apartment. But shortly thereafter, they heard a gunshot and returned to the balcony. Once on the balcony, the two men observed Martin running back towards the alley. As Gomez and Ramos watched, Martin stopped by the entrance of the apartments building parking lot,
Bruh, that's
looked up at
actually
the
a
balcony,
good,
aimed, and fired a single shot at the men. Gomez and
thumbnail,
Ramos then
bro.
drove to the floor
Appreciate
inside
you
the
for helping me out
apartment,
with the
followed by
thumbnail,
Ramos
man.
looking outside the window. Again, we
actually
seen
looks
Martin
pretty
fleeing down the
good.
alley.
I have to
Michelle,
make some more.
she died from a gunshot wound to her forehead, stippling around her room, and so she had been
Crazy.
shot close range. Michelle's
'Cause
necklace
looking
had
at the
been broken.
thumbnail, I
It
just want-
and her
I would
engagement
just
ring,
wanna
they were
click
discovered
on
in her
it.
jacket though. A broken clasp of the necklace was found nearby. Her Dooney and Burke purse, it was found on the ground, open, and some of the contents were scattered. An expended bullet, it was beneath her leg. Two 9mm cartridge cases, they were recovered from the scene. One from the flatbed of the truck next to Michelle's body, and a second in the middle of 62nd Street, where Martin was seen running. The following day, the Los Angeles City Council, they offered a $50,000 reward and publicized
just
the
don't be
reward on the fly.
flashy.
As a
That's
result
all
of a
it
call to a
is.
homicide hotline, Martin was identified as a suspect, and a six-pack photographic lineup
If anything is
containing his
good or just
photograph
bummy.
was fair. And after that, Figueroa, Ramos,
you could dress
Gomez, and
bummy and
Sanchez
have a lot of
identified
money.
or tentatively identified
And
Martin
they
in the
would-
photographic
they
lineup.
wouldn't
Martin was
wanna,
arrested on June 21st,
rob you for
2007.
that.
In his bedroom closet, officers found a backpack with East Coast Crip writing on it. A notebook containing East Coast Crip writings and photographs, one of which showed him making East Coast Crip signs. In the end, Martin was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 2 life terms in prison. Definitely rest in peace to Karina Mitchell. While this was a murder robbery, she was still in the heart of the area and had one of the most deadly wars going on at the time. With the East Coast Crips and the Ferencia 13 been engaged in not only a gang war, but an intense racial war that
Yeah, that's
graduated
crazy,
from one of these
bruh.
gang affiliations. This wars came to an
Nobody's
end in
safe,
2019 after both gangs agreed for truce. But when it
just
comes to the
don't get
six-pack East
food
Coast
in the
Crips,
ghetto, bro.
they're involved in
Just
numerous other turf battles that set the city
stay
on
in a
fire.
nice area.
Trust me, this tragic situation, it doesn't even scratch
You
the
know?
surface of their daily lives. When it comes to the six-pack section of the East Coast Crips, they've had several shot callers who have made them one of the most respected and feared subsets of the East Coast Crips, including members like Paul Gregory Wallace, also known as Doc. But let's get into history as we address these and other situations.
In the home, there's no work. In the home, there's no man. The mother usually is in the home by herself. She's on welfare, and she's been on welfare for 2 or 3 generations. She's a product of that. She probably is either on dope or hustling for one way or the other.
History of the six-pack East Coast Crips. When it comes to the history of these guys, to fully understand it, we got to get into the history of the East Coast Crips in general. First off, the East Coast Crips, they're not a specific gang, but an alliance of several different gang identities in Los Angeles County, in 3 different jurisdictions. But the birthplace of this gang, it resides in one of the most grimiest parts of Los Angeles. Nigga, I'm not playing either. If you ever end up in this area, just keep driving. Damn near run a couple of lights if you have to. Don't stop for nobody, and if you walk in, nigga, just pray you don't get pressed, robbed, or shot at. Anyways, they start off as the East Side Crips to help distinguish themselves from the West Side Crips that came earlier on. The creation of the East Side Six Deuce Crips in around 1974 spawned the alliance now known as the East Coast Crips. But don't get it twisted, many of the gangs that make up the East Coast Crips, they'd already existed since the early 1970s under different names, such as the Q102 Town Street Boys, the 6'9 Shack Boys, the 7'6 Shack Boys, and the 118 Block Crip. It's alleged that the 62nd Streets, they may have been the first sets to put East Coast on it during the 1970s, but they're not the oldest set of the East Coast Crip card. So if it's any members or anybody tapped in, y'all let me know in the comments, what was the first gang that the East Coast Crip ever established? But let's get into the individual gangs that fall under the six-pack alliance.
The moral fabric in Los Angeles is broken down. There's no sense of morality. There's no thou shalt nots. There's no stop signs. Anything goes.
Originated in the 1970s around 62nd Street and San Pedro Street, the Six Deuce neighborhood East Coast Crips, a predominantly African-American street gang located on the east side of South Central Los Angeles, in the area near 62nd Street in Maine. Parts of their turf are west of Main Street to the Harbor 110 freeway, which is considered the west side, but they maintain their east side identity. Most indications, they suggest that the Six Deuce East Coast Crips are the first neighborhood Crip on the east side of South Central Los Angeles, and the creation of this set by Raymond Washington inspired the creation of the East Coast Crip Alliance, in which older gangs gradually joined, such as the earlier mentioned Q102 Boys, 7'6 Shack Boys, and the 6'9 Shack Boys.
Gangbanging ain't gonna end, man. You can't end gangbanging, man. It's not the point of ending it. It's the fact of protecting people, protecting little bitty innocent kids. You know, nobody's trying to end the gangbang because it's been going on for years and years, way since back in the '60s, and it ain't gonna stop. You know, but nobody's trying to stop it. They're just trying to, trying to calm down on it because too many people are getting killed. The white man trying to make money off of it. You see they recording?
When it comes to the formation of the 6'6 East Coast Crips, while respected and feared today, they're one of the younger branches of the East Coast Crips in the city. Allegedly been established in the 1990s, but y'all let me know in the comments if this is true or not. On top of that, it's alleged that this section of the East Coast Crips, along with the one I know East Coast
let's check
Crips,
this guy
has a
out.
heavy tie to the Black Mafia, helping them move heavy loads of drugs
I'll be
throughout Los
watching
Angeles.
this
But once
food
again, y'all
too.
let me know in the comments if this is true or not. When it comes to the 6'8 East Coast Crips, I couldn't find
Let
too
me
much
say
information in
this.
terms of when they were founded, but y'all let me know in the comments if y'all can find any information on that. When it comes to the 690s Coach,
If you a grown ass man out here and you think that a woman is still
We all
attracted
over
to
the
you
place, bro.
because you got
That's how you know
gold,
we
because
stay
you got a car,
tooted
because
to
you got a
quit, bro.
house,
Whatever it
or
is we
any
doing,
type
baby.
of little things, any type of materialistic things. If you think that a woman is really attracted to you based off of those things and she wants you based off of those things, that's not why. That ain't why, baby. Like, ain't no woman out here gonna be with no man that got all of that, but they stingy. But they not trying to build nothing. But they're not trying to provide for that woman. But they not trying to nothing. And then you guys wonder why, oh, she left me and went to go get with a man that make less than me. It don't matter what that man make less than you. You got all of that, but you're not offering that woman shit. Whatsoever. So she should just be with you because you look nice. Like you look like she look like she okay, so people look at her and say, oh damn, she got a man that got money. But cause what is that doing for her? That's not doing nothing for her.
Yo, it's crazy. It is crazy that you have women that's at the bottom of the totem pole that is willing to have these conversations. I mean, really, honestly. And I'm not even, like, I've changed my ways. I've completely evolved in the way that I communicate and how I'm trying to communicate my messages. But to see these women, and I don't know what kind of hierarchy of man that they think is money. Like, I don't know what that looks like. But to even hear them communicate in this way, crazy with the t-shirts and the hair frizzy and all of that stuff, with the black lips and everything, is wild. I'm just going to leave it at that. That's wild. All right. Before I even get into the context of the conversation, that she is expecting for this man to be generous just because of what? What qualifies you outside of being a wife? Because see, that's what I think is the qualification for a man to be incredibly generous. You don't spend money on chicks that you're not trying to have a long-term relationship with, in which you get married to her and then she becomes the mother of your children. Other than that, man, listen, your money is your money. You went and got it out the mud. You took care of business. And the problem in the culture and the problem with society today is that you have too many simps that are willing to trick on women and they don't even have it. Let me tell y'all something. Outside of these goofy basketball players and these dudes that really don't understand what, like, and they lead with their money, usually what happens is the men that don't really have it like that and you got to go and grind at work are the ones that's tricking off the most on these chicks. It ain't the people that got it because they are busted down for the clout. I'm just telling you the honest to God truth. They'll do it for the clout. You ain't got to spend a whole lot of money on a chick. And I'm not advocating for the whole, dynamics 50-50 and all that stuff, because you do whatever it is that makes sense for your relationship, right? If you are married and you don't have children, first of all, a woman is always supposed to be purposeful. So if she is not in some way, shape, or form doing something meaningful and being busy, and it don't even have to be money or income generating, but it has to be something meaningful. She can't just be sitting around having an idle mind drinking wine all day, because then she's going to become a wino and then she's going to be annoying and then they're dependent on you for her happiness. That's not ever a no-go. All right. So that's number one. Number two, you have to also take into consideration if she becomes a mother. I'm cool with being a stay-at-home mother, with her being a stay-at-home mother, because she's not letting the daycare raise her children. And when you start to do the math, especially with most of these women and how much they make, it's better for her to stay home. She's just wasting her time. You know what I'm saying? So now you have a bunch of women that are online advocating for basically selling box, because that's all they're really doing. And now they're sitting here. This used to be, honestly, like, if I'm just going to keep it 100 with y'all, this used to be reserved for the top of the top. The ones that just truly turn heads. Like, this wasn't for regular chicks. Y'all done fucked up the game and simped out so much that now you got regular, below regular, and listen, the market dictate what is and isn't. So, us getting our money up and our resources and making sure that we take care of business and we can provide and protect, that qualifies us to be at a certain level. And we still consider ourselves regular. Like, most of us that ain't got it and had it for a long time, we just like, we normal everyday people, but you're not going to finesse us. You're not going to just take advantage of us because we've been able to be successful. So I'm supposed to trade in my time and money and then be able to trick it off on you for what? For what? You ain't even my wife. Wifey, she's straight over there. Right there. She's straight over there. This is wild what y'all have subjected yourselves to.
I don't understand. Like, it's like, I don't know. I don't get it. Ain't no grown woman out here chasing no man just because he got money. In actuality, women chase comfortability. You get what I'm saying? We chase a provider. When we see that, we feel like we can have stability with that person. A lot of women can have stability on their own. They already have stability. They didn't already built their life. They already working.
Then fucking do it. Take care of yourself.
They got a house, they already got a car, they already got their own dollars. But they want somebody that can bring that in. But a lot of men, even when they see that you already got that for yourself, you get what I'm saying? When you already got that for yourself, they got it too. But they not trying to combine their shit with you. Like, they want to just hold you on. Oh, look at me, I got money. No woman is going to stay with a man that got money, but that man isn't doing nothing for her. For what? Y'all know damn well y'all not going to be with no woman that's banked out and she not doing a fucking thing for you, and you're a bum. And you're a bum. So it just don't make sense to me how this shit work out here. And then they be like, oh no, I would do for my woman, but I'm not just gonna do for if I'm just chilling with a woman. Are we just dating? Are we just any of that type of shit? Because back in the day, I swore that's when the fuck it started. It didn't start from the day that you said, oh, we're together, okay? Okay. And from this day forward, that's when what are you talking about? No woman was dating back, women was not dating back then. If a man wasn't already showing that he was already.
Yo, family, I don't give a fuck what she's saying. Don't ever spend no money on no birds. Don't ever be tricking off on no birds, man. If y'all gotta pay to play because y'all gotta be able to separate the difference between a wife and a bust down, then that's y'all problem. Y'all out here getting food, y'all out here getting tricked, and y'all out here getting finessed out of y'all bag. Y'all need to repent for that.
Doing something. Y'all didn't switch it up. What the fuck is going on out here? Let's make it really make sense. Like, this shit is really backwards. And then y'all say, oh, I would do it for my woman. Okay. But then y'all don't even get into relationships. Y'all don't even want relationships. So y'all never even put yourself in the place to have a woman, to be in a relationship, to have a family, to do that. So it's just an excuse to string women along. To say, oh, I would do it just to see, just so she can stay. Just so she can stay to see if she can become your woman, so she can get the benefits out of being your woman and your lifestyle, and let's bring it together and build some shit. Are you fucking crazy?
This lady's mad. What's going on?
Manipulation like a motherfucker. Get real. Stop playing. Go play with your mama, nigga. Don't play. Don't come over here motherfucking playing with me. That's what I'm saying. I don't got no niggas. I don't got no roster. I don't got no...
Fellas, listen. Let me get this off of my screen. I got to get it off my screen. It's just wild. It's crazy. I don't know what the heck happened, and I don't know where everybody went wrong, where they thought that this made sense. Let me tell you something, bro. If it's another dude that's willing to trick off on her and she willing to leave you for him, then let him. They not yours. It's just your turn anyway. It's a difference between a chick that's for the streets and a chick that's in your household that you're supposed to be making sure that she good. Make sure y'all let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. Always linking back to the content creator because it's the right thing to do. I just don't know where this life became so off and wrong, where people and women feel compelled to be able to say the things that they say as though they qualify for these type of guys in the first place. Insane, bro.
Yesterday, which was insane. Apparently this guy got in this crash and he killed like multiple people with this, and I don't even know what it is at all. Oh my fucking god. So let's take a look at it. Mom told me about this? Yeah. And this guy who's like a Trump admin steps in after migrant involved in deadly crash, fails proficiency tests. Wow, I would have never guessed. Here we go.
The Trump administration now investigating a deadly Florida crash allegedly caused by an illegal migrant truck driver.
Yep.
And officials say the suspect couldn't read English or understand road signs despite getting a commercial driver's license from 2 sanctuary states. Look.
Oh my god. He was also involved in collapsing an old bridge, being overweight semi-prior to this accident. So he got a work authorization denied by Trump, and then he received work papers under Biden administration. It is crazy what an unforced error having these people in the country is. It is absolutely insane. How does this keep happening? Oh my god.
28-year-old illegal alien faces deportation and 3 counts of homicide. The trucking company is also under review. And guys, that accident happened just an hour north of Palm Beach in Mar-a-Lago, guys.
Wow.
This is the big problem, is that whenever one of these things happens, like this driver's fucked his life up, right? I mean, he's probably going to go to jail forever, and that's going to be the end of him.
Yeah, and he just ruined it for the other ones that's actually doing pretty good and probably had the same thing he did. Way to go, bro.
And that's a good thing. But the problem is that I think in a lot of these cases, there's never any sort of secondary consequence for that. Like, nobody that's making these decisions ever feels any sort of pressure for doing it. And I think that's the main problem that we have right now. It's that a lot of the people that end up doing this stuff and that make the decisions themselves end up completely getting away with it. Totally getting away with it. And I think that's what's frustrating for so many people. I know it's frustrating for me. It's extremely frustrating for me.
So this driver is driving down in Florida. He ends up being arrested in the state of
California. Yeah, if I was the federal government, I would just totally cut off all their funds until they cut this shit out. Like, unless you're going to cooperate and work with the federal government to enforce immigration, you're not getting any money from the federal government. That's it. And if you have a problem with that, well, then just send the military over there. I mean, the amount of just blatant, basically treason that's happening, where you have these people that are usurping the country, they are actively damaging people's lives, they're getting people killed. This is what I was talking about with like the selfishness of altruism, is that people like this think that they're doing a good thing by letting in some random guy from another country because they're like, oh, wow, he's from this horrible country, it's so bad, let's let him in. And then something like this happens. Yeah, family dies. And so this is really the problem. And this is the reason why I think that this type of emotional messaging is dying. And this is why so many more Americans, at least, are waking up. And I think that they're realizing, like, this is fucking ridiculous that this is happening. People are getting killed because of this. And and again, like, whether you think that immigrants commit more or less crime is irrelevant, because number one, they're not immigrants, they're illegal aliens or migrants that shouldn't be here in the first place. And number two, the acceptable amount of that should be 0 because they shouldn't be here, period. So the problem is that and I think that more people are getting there now. Many people are getting there. They fail at papers, please. Yeah, exactly. Criminals, not migrants. Yes, clearly. Tragedy is that normal people suffer the most from this crap, just trying to go about their day. Well, of course. Is this it?
This trucker CDL situation is getting so scary, even ultra-left Reddit is starting to sound like the MAGA movement. Ooh. As over in Florida, this trucker takes an illegal left turn on the highway, blocking all the lanes, causing a fatal collision. with the New York Post revealing the crash that killed 3 was caused by an illegal individual. And on the DHS's official reporting on the incident, they stated they attempted to use an official use only access point. And although he had no legal right to be in the country, California still issued him a commercial driver's license operating a 40-ton 18-wheel truck, as he should.
Why are people putting up with this? This is the reason why I think a lot of people don't support Trump, by the way, is because you should be coming down with the full force of the federal government to absolutely crucify anybody and everything inside of the system that created this outcome. Totally fucking stop this. Like, prevent this from ever happening again. Like, that's one thing. Like, I was mad at Trump because he didn't put Hillary Clinton in jail. You said you were going to put her in jail. Did you put her in jail? No, nobody went to jail. Bill Clinton didn't go to jail. Hillary Clinton didn't go to jail. Obama didn't go to jail. Nobody went to jail. Nothing happened. That's one of the reasons why I was frustrated. I mean, what, arrest Newsom? Yeah, maybe. Sure. I mean, if you can figure out a way to charge him for something, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, or whatever, like, whoever is making the decisions there, yeah, of course. No one's above the law. For what, though? For creating a system that allows crime and not upholding the laws. And I think really, I mean, at a certain point, whenever you're allowing a bunch of foreign nationals to come into the country and commit crime and terrorize people, at what point is this not treason? Because there's got to be a point, right? It's criminal negligence, yeah. Like, what is this? Why are we putting up with this behavior? This is insane.
Been sent home, but remained because he was afraid to return to India. And the more we know about this tragedy, the worse it becomes.
They didn't send him back because he didn't want to go back to India? Is this a joke? Oh my God.
That this was completely avoidable is compounded by the idea that this is a much larger issue than anybody knew about, as terrible policies in rural states like California, or even putting people in danger in conservative states like Florida. It's interesting how only local outlets and right-leaning media seems to highlight this horrible story.
Well, it's because, again, the reason why they highlight it, it's because the media is completely biased. I mean, and Fox News is biased too. It's not like Fox News isn't biased. They're just biased from the other side, so they're going to be talking about this all day. But it's because, again, all this, corporate media is completely done for the intent and the purpose of misleading you and making you believe something. That's it. Why are we okay with Trump pardoning officials that have lied for him in the past? Look at the records. It's all fucked. Well, it's because that's in his presidential purview to use pardons. Like, that's a fundamental, like, effective use of game mechanics. Like, I don't agree with, like, for some people that get pardoned, I agree with. Other ones, I don't. But at the end of the day, that's the way it works. He has the power to do that. I just think that they should exercise that power more. I think that letting these people run wild is causing such a huge problem.
Places like super left Reddit is having discussions about this, attempting to be objective, with a top comment from r/truckers being about someone experiencing the same exact thing in Texas, spiraling into a conversation.
Bro, I feel the same way. I shit you not. Some Indian dude just tried doing a U-turn in front of me on Highway 380 here in Dallas-Fort Worth area. Dude almost had 3 lanes crash into him. Had I not keep going playing chicken with him, dude rolled his window down and started yelling at me. I was speechless. Who the fuck tries to do this shit at all? I mean, have you seen the way they drive in India? Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, they could be the best drivers in the world in India, but they shouldn't be getting a license here if they can't speak English. Like, I mean, it's not even a question. There's plenty of Indians that come over from India and they can drive without causing a fucking, a massacre.
About how that specific country has different driving norms and how they have 1% of the world's vehicles but 10% of its deaths, which seems like a mature, objective conversation that isn't common on Reddit, except when you consider how much of their interactions are actually bots, which that post looks 100% generated by AI, with every single ChatGPT detector saying so, and that's the only way Reddit will accidentally tell the truth. And again, this proves absolutely nothing about foreign truckers as a whole, but why is it so difficult to have this discussion?
Nobody has a problem with somebody who's a foreign person that's a trucker here. We have a problem, and everybody has a problem when it's somebody who's here who's not supposed to be here, who can't speak English and didn't take the test the right way that they should have, and they're driving around anyway. Like, there's a massive fucking difference between these two things. It's a huge difference.
In the first place, with the second most voted comments being about how this same thing happened in Indiana, giving them certain feelings about foreign truckers, with the top reply to that being from someone sharing that same race, having the same feelings because they make them all look bad. And as somebody from an ethnicity also known for being notoriously bad drivers, I understand where
oh God.
he's coming from. Most of us don't see this story and think, ban all foreign-born CDL holders. We just want to know how someone that doesn't understand the basics of our traffic laws.
I think it's making people racist. I think that's what's happening, is that, like, now you're having people that want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so, like, these types of rules and everything that have happened, and this, like, blatant unfairness and this blatant disregard for the law has, I think it's radicalized a lot of people. And in the process of radicalizing a lot of people, I think what it's done is that it's made people go so far in the other direction. Whereas, I mean, for me personally, like, if a legal immigrant comes over and they want to do this, that's fine. But you have to pass certain tests and you have to do things the right way. Obviously, that's the way the world works. But the issue is that people have become so radicalized by seeing the unfairness of this that they become the opposite of it. And so now you have just general anti-Indian racism because of these select groups of people getting preferential treatment in ways that they never should have. And that's the issue, right? Is that the ultimate result and the end outcome of these policies is that it makes people more racist. That's what's happening.
Was legally allowed to get a commercial driver's license and be given an 18-wheeler. So in the future, we can prevent this same thing from occurring again. No one is suggesting racism as a solution, but they'll always use the potential of that to deflect from real criticisms of a broken system.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, I mean, anybody who criticizes this and they say, well, the guy can't speak English, there's like a, kind of like this like implication that it's racist to bring up this point.
The next top comment on Reddit was him researching this specific driver, as he shares the same name as a guy that 4 years ago used his.
Oh no! We got, bro. Come on. Repeat offender 4 years ago. So, well, that would make sense. Because, so logically, if you look at the timing of this, it said that his application was denied in 2020 and it was approved in 2021. So that means that if this was the same guy, and plenty of people have the same name, so we don't know if it was or not, maybe now we do, but let's assume that it is, this would have been right when he got his license, that he never should have had to begin with, by the way.
Truck to collapse a bridge in Arkansas, who also was connected to a California-based trucking company. Well, the X replies found that it's a common name, and oddly, very common in the trucking industry. Sure. Now, no one is accusing every single one of those guys as being bad drivers. It's just
but the racist backlash from this will, and that's what's going to happen. And that's why you have so much anti-Indian racism now. Like, anti-Indian racism is probably the most culturally accepted form of racism after anti-white racism.
Unfortunate that this inconvenient information causes left-leaning media outlets to completely ignore the story.
It's a pattern. Patterns don't lie. Yeah, but of course it's going to be a pattern because you have a lot of false positives of people that shouldn't be there. But the reality is that the majority of people that drive around into their Indian, they're not driving around causing a chaos wherever they're going. It's not like they're playing Grand Theft Auto here. The problem is not with where a person comes from. It's whether a person is qualified to do what they're doing. So I think that, like, if you get focused on like this one issue with Indians, oh, okay, well, like Indians are the problem. Well, what about a Brazilian? What about a Guatemalan that comes here? What about somebody from Africa? Like the same problem still exists. It's and also even a person like a Russian, right? It's not racial even either. If a Russian's driving around and doing this, it's a problem. So the real problem fundamentally is not the country that they're coming from or what that country's culture is like. It's fundamentally that they don't have the training to do what they're supposed to do. That's the big problem. That's the main issue. You're preaching reason, people won't listen to reason. Well, yeah, but why would? And the thing is that when you're a circus, why not? When you're in a circus, why not behave like a clown? People have been pushed away and told that any sort of reasonable discourse, like what I'm saying now, people call me a racist on the internet constantly. I get called a racist constantly when anybody who watches my stream knows that the majority of right-wing people in my chat, or like at least, super right-wing people in my chat, they get mad at me because I don't, I don't indulge in any sort of like racist narratives at all. I never do. And I think that's what's really ironic about it. But the problem is that because people like me get labeled as racist and I get maligned and lied about, what happens is it creates people like them, where they say, you know what, we don't care if you call us racist, we're going to be racist as a response to what's happened before then. That's the issue. You walk the line? Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not walking a line. I'm just giving my opinion, right? This isn't something that's difficult for me to do. I'm just looking at this logically and making a decision. It's super simple.
It's difficult to be objective when you're simply not allowed to come to certain conclusions.
Yeah, of course.
As shockingly, there are huge amounts of American truck drivers that do not speak English.
I'm the only person
Both
speaking.
of these trucks right here. Neither of those drivers speak a lick of English. I go to the warehouse here and ask, where do you check in at? They don't understand either. It's a real life example of it. I deal with this almost every single day.
I gotta wait for the cops to get here.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I have to wait for the cops to get here because you hit those mailboxes.
What a fucking retard.
So Trump decided to address this.
Directing the Department of Transportation to include English literacy tests for our truckers.
Yeah.
This is a big problem in the trucking community that unless you're in that community...
How is anybody against this even for a second? You need to, like, this is funny. I told the story before. I was driving back. We got an Uber driver from like my dad and I visited Florida, and we were driving back. We had a guy drive us back to the house, and so he was a truck driver himself, and he was from Afghanistan, and he's like, yeah, so they're making people speak English now. He's like, yeah, so that's, yeah, obviously, right, because you need to be able to read the signs. How can you do your job if you can't read the signs and you don't know English? And I was like, yeah, obviously, fucking obviously. It's so clear, it's so evident, and some people don't get it. Why the fuck is being fluent in English not even a base requirement to even immigrate? In my opinion, I would not let a single immigrant in that doesn't speak English. I cannot see a single way that they can provide a benefit to anybody in the country.
No.
Now in Alabama, they just started to issue tickets to truckers that can't speak English. But how will that citation stop them from driving dangerously? Yep. Or at the very least, can they even comprehend what they're being ticketed for? And how did it get so bad that people that don't even know how to read street signs are allowed to get behind the wheel of these humongous vehicles?
Well, there's two reasons why. Number one is malicious negligence. People just simply don't care, and they don't care about their job, and they just let whatever they want go through, and they don't even pay attention or vet it at all, because majority of people that work at the federal government are working under some sort of 1 through 5 rating system, and they need to make sure they're getting at least a 3. And so you have basically, when you gamify a job, people stop doing their job and they play the game. And so that's the issue, is that a lot of quality work takes away from your effective numerical performance. And I think that's the big issue that happens. And so that explanation is not malicious. Well, it becomes malicious. I think that at a certain point, when you are ignoring things that are safety concerns because you're worried about your job, I understand why you're doing it, but that's absolutely malicious. Like, that's crazy. That's like saying that, like, oh, it's not malicious by speeding really fast, driving 150 miles an hour because you want to go home really soon. Yeah, I understand why you're doing it, but it doesn't make it okay. It's absolutely malicious. Plenty of people do malicious things that are understanding why a person does something doesn't mean that it's okay for them to do it. I think that people need to understand the difference between those two things. Now, the second thing is that you have also, this is the other big issue, right? Is that you have people that think that it's a racist thing to have these requirements. Like, it's racist to require this kind of stuff. So you have people that are just retards and don't care about their job. And then you have people that are protecting them that care more about an ideology than people's lives here in the country. So it's both of them.
Is like hyper-left California that consistently hold progressive values over the safety of their citizens. Yeah. With the Department of Homeland Security actually putting California Governor Newsom solely to blame. And since that post, what has Newsom done? Complained about Donald Trump. Then complained about Donald Trump again. And then replying to a post comparing him to the future likely Republican candidate for president. Which
JD Vance. Oh, wow. Look how good I looked in high school. Look at that. Oh, man. Yeah, for sure, man.
Just highlights how J.D. Vance is more of an American everyman compared to the entitled, emotional drama queen that is Newsom. California is issuing death machines to people that can't even read street signs, and their governor seems more focused on reminiscing on his rich boy roots and designer scarves than actually addressing it. As we just
exactly exactly. He's talking about how good he looked in high school while people are getting fucking run over and robbed in his state. How is it? What's crazy to me is that Gavin Newsom thinks that he has even a chance to win presidency. Like, every single year, your state burns down. Every year, there is a new meltdown that happens in California. Like, I would say half of the crash outs in the entire country are in California. They're going to steal it? I don't think so.
Covered how absolutely every American that drives on our highways is in danger due to California's negligence. And the main person that should fix this is too preoccupied in his delusional campaign for president. And what makes this worse is you would likely only know about this situation from social media.
It'd be crazy if he does win, though. Yeah, it would be. But, like, either way, I mean, and again, it'd be better if he won than a number of other people that I dislike even more. But overall, I don't think that he has a chance of winning. I think that, again, like, oh, look at him, he was hot in college. This is something that works on, like, Twitter, but I don't think it really resonates with a lot of average people. And I think it's one of those things. It's kind of like the idea of, like, remember whenever they tried to pull that, oh, JD Vance is weird, like using that weird word. This is like a high school girl energy political campaign. It works, but it only works for a very small period of time. Then it stops working because people realize how childish and stupid it is, and then they move on. I don't think it's going anywhere.
News meme commentary account called Decoy Voice, as I don't like covering these tragic events to try to plug something stupid like a YouTube channel. But when they're surrounded by a larger social issue that needs to be addressed, it's actually important to talk about them when you know the media likely won't.
No, exactly. And I think it's just really based off of whether it reinforces what they think or not. And that's really what matters more than anything. Here, I'll link you guys the video, give it a like. And I totally fucking agree with this, definitely.
Shoot, man. Appreciate you for staying tuned to quit with me, bruh. Until the next, what's going on in the world drops, bruh. Stay tuned to quit whatever it is you're doing because anything is possible.